It's your daily dose of Donna. Happy Saturday. Wow, we're spending the weekend together. This is a special edition of Daily Dose of Donna. It is Saturday, January 18th. I am thrilled to be spending Saturday with you guys. There is nowhere else I'd rather be, let's be honest. Welcome in, everyone. I felt like today needed to happen because I looked at the lawsuit and I said, there's no way that this can infringe on our entire week next week. We gotta get this in. We gotta push this into our weekend. And it is a long weekend. So I feel like I do have enough time to spend with my family. And, I can divvy it out. Last night I went out with some friends and my family. And then today I already worked out. I went to the market. My kid's playing football, one of them, while my other kid's home. And I said, you know what? I need to dive right in to Baldoni. I need to dive right in. So we're going to talk. We're going to get right into this lawsuit that is blowing me away. The more I think about it, the more frustrated I get. I have so much to say and so many thoughts, and Patty Stanger is showing up in my comments. And when Patty Stanger shows up in my comments, it just makes my blood boil because I can't imagine how a matchmaker can be so far off. She's so off the mark constantly. There's also so many other people who are making videos about this. So many really smart people who I am watching, and my head is exploding because I can't understand how two people, meaning myself and maybe other people, can be so completely opposite on this. And I'm so interested how we're all reading the same content and we could all be so different in terms of our opinion. We're going to talk all about this. Welcome to so many people. It's their first time here. Mary Kate. Is it Mary Kate and Ashley? Wouldn't that be so fun if it was an Olsen twin here? Said, hi, Donna. This is my first time making a live. So many of you guys are here doing your first times. We're breaking virginities here. Welcome to the show, everyone. This is your Saturday version of Daily Dose of Donna. Oh, it's so funny. I didn't think about this. A lot of you guys work, Monday through Friday, and you're not able to watch live. So a lot of you guys I'm seeing, Denise says I believe it's spelled Denise. Well, it's spelled a little different than Denise, but I'm imagining it's pronounced Denise. Tell me if I'm wrong. Says, I love having a Saturday show as I can watch live. And I saw earlier that Mrs. Busted Can of Biscuits is driving a road trip with 6 dogs. Good luck. Good luck. RG says, first live ever. Sarah says, I am team Hollywood sucks. I am definitely with you. And I live just outside of Hollywood. I'm team Hollywood sucks in many ways. But, my husband Lance is part of Hollywood. So I am definitely not team all of Hollywood sucks. I have to just do a little personal thing here. I was watching Bill Maher last night. Well, a little bit last night. And then I fell asleep. And then a little bit this morning. I believe if anyone that is in that late night show category, Bill Maher speaks from I think I'm more aligned with Bill Maher than I am with anyone. I find so many people to be too much on one side and so many people to be too much on the other side. And Bill Maher speaks, he just I connect with him so much. And of course, not everything he says connects with me and that's normal, right? You're not supposed to agree with something 100% of the time. But his episode last night about the LA fires, I felt like I was clapping. I was Craig's tiny hands. I was clapping with Craig's tiny hands. I was clapping out loud. So if you listen to Bill Maher or watch Bill Maher and you live in Los Angeles or are interested in the fires and my take on everything, he had Rick Caruso, who is, of course, who I voted for mayor. And I feel so strongly about that. What a loss that he didn't win. And I will get attacked in the comments, I'm sure, about that because I already did this morning when I posted about it. But remember the new Donna, but the 2025 version of Donna is, this is who I am. I'm about to break out into the song from The Greatest Showman, right? This is me. I'm exactly who I'm supposed to be. Okay. And I am so confident that we made a big misstep with leadership here. So It's a great episode. And Bill Maher always nails those final, like, closing monologues. I thought it was phenomenal. Okay. Speaking of, one of our comments here mentioned this. Okay, I'm just going to pull it up here and I'll say it out loud. So Lee says, I'm shocked at Emily Baker and must know what Donna thinks. So Emily D. Baker, who is an incredible attorney, and I am a huge fan of Emily D. Baker. I follow her wholeheartedly. I think she's phenomenal. I think she is so smart. Her coverage of Karen Reed, her coverage of I must be honest, I didn't follow her heavily, like, back during the Johnny Depp Amber Heard, but followed her during Karen Reed. I followed her during, more recently during, the Rust trial. I just watched her the other day on Nick Viall yesterday when she was talking about the TikTok ban. I even played that whole video, that whole portion of her speaking about the TikTok ban for Lance last night or this morning on YouTube because I thought it was so smart. She's a very smart woman. And speaking of the TikTok ban, I just read that Trump is going to potentially expand or extend for 90 days the TikTok ban. We'll see. We'll find out a little bit more tomorrow or Monday. So we don't know if TikTok officially is going to go away. But Emily D. Baker, a lot of people had sent me DMs last night because I haven't watched her coverage of this lawsuit of Baldoni. And Emily D. Baker, so a few people sent me DMs saying you have to go and watch her coverage of this lawsuit. And you guys know, if you've followed Daily Dose of Donna for the last few weeks, that I flip-flopped and I'm very open about it. I'm not hiding it. It's all on record, right? I was very much anti Blake Lively after the movie came out. I even talked about it on the show. I didn't go deep into it, but I went into it when the movie originally came out and I thought Blake came out looking bad with all those old interviews. And then I even went on a few other podcasts talking about it. That show called Fixing Famous People with Chris DeRosa. And then with the first complaint, when Blake released that first complaint on December 20th, I was like blown away. I was very Team Blake. And it was so strong, Team Blake, until Justin's lawsuit. And then I opened my eyes and I felt, wow, we have a lot of proof. And this new lawsuit against Lively and Reynolds is so clear to me, which is why I'm very heavily leaning towards Baldoni. So when I went over to Emily D. Baker's post or her video that she released, I believe yesterday or the day before, where she goes over this lawsuit, it's quite, I should say it's quite clear. I don't want to say it. You guys should go and watch it. But it's very, very obvious to me that she is incredibly, I mean, look, you can tell when you watch me that I'm biased. Okay. You can tell that I am very much on Baldoni's side. There's no question. So I would say that when you watch her, the way she reads Baldoni's case, she's rolling her eyes left and right. She's making, snide remarks. She's saying that she feels like she should fall asleep. She thinks it's written like a Netflix movie, but like a boring one. She thinks either she has a major, major issue against Brian Friedman, who's Justin Baldoni's attorney, or more interestingly enough, and someone pointed this out to me, when you go over to Emily D. Baker's Instagram, and I'm not saying that this is necessarily true, but when you go to, or this is the reason, but when you go to Emily D. Baker on Instagram, someone said, I haven't actually even looked in person, but someone told me, so let's look together. Let's be sleuths together. When you go to Emily D. Baker's Instagram, you see, let's see if she's following. Van City. She's following Ryan Reynolds. I imagine she's not following Justin Baldoni. She's not following Justin Baldoni. Now, when you go to her followers, can we search? No. So let's now go to Van City Reynolds. Let's go to Ryan Reynolds followers or following and see, is he following? Aha. Ryan Reynolds is following Emily D. Baker. So I don't want to say that this is a definite thing that Emily D. Baker and Ryan Reynolds are in cahoots. I'm just saying that they're not following each other. If that's the case, you do have to question, and for those of you that don't know who Emily D. Baker is, and I'm not saying that she is definitely in cahoots with, oh, Zach is on his members only. Oh, okay. Oh, no, that's 18 hours ago. Sorry. Let me go to, oh, here it is. This is the video. I truly, hold on. Let me go to, where can I find Emily D. Baker? Okay, so for those of you that don't know Emily, she's great. I'm telling you, I really like her. I have nothing bad to say about her. But this is her page. So for those of you that don't know her, she has 804,000 subscribers. She's an attorney. She's incredibly intelligent. But this was the first time that people felt like she was reading it in a very biased way. So it's just important, I guess, to know that, this is the video. It was streamed 2 days ago. And when living it in the comments, you can just see that people are feeling fairly strong that she's commenting in a biased way. So you can go and look at on your own. But I wonder if there is a connection there. You have to think about that. We have to think about who people know in this industry and who people are connected with. I do wonder what is going on there, Oh, okay, Zach was on his members only, and then he switched to regular YouTube. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought he was just on a members only because I didn't see it on my YouTube. I would never try to compete with Zach. Bummer. Okay, well, Zach and I are just fighting. We're fighting to get into this together. Zach and I just love each other. We're texting all day long, every day. All right, let's move on and let's start continuing to talk about this. In addition, I just think it's important when it comes to watching content and watching content creators. I don't have a connection with Justin Baldoni personally. I did talk about the fact that I've met him before, and I stand by the fact that he's still an actor. And by an actor, I mean cheeseball. There are actors, and I'm sorry for those of you that are watching this. Actors are, for the most part, there are some that aren't, but actors in Los Angeles are, for the most part, very actory. What do I mean by that? I used to be a casting director, so I know this very, very well. They're annoying. That's going to sound so mean, but they're on. They're like turned on. And maybe it's because I am a casting director. Like I know them from being a casting director, but I felt like they were always like literally light switch on. It's like showy. You feel like you're watching a show with them. It feels like there's two sides of them. They're on. Now, some maybe aren't that way, but my experience with them, especially because of who I was, felt like I was always feeling like they were performing for me. It felt like a performance. And it didn't, I just didn't feel that he was not in that category. He felt that way for me when I knew him in 2007. So I still stand by that. I think he is cheesy. I think Justin Baldoni is a cheesy actor, performer. His engagement video is cheesy. All of it. He's like in his feelings. It's annoying. Okay. It's not for me. It's not for me. I stand by that. All of that doesn't go away. But the word of sexual harassment, that word and that category to put someone in a box is so huge. It's such a mark on someone's life. And he has kids and he has a career and he has so many people that I personally know who have known him for years that have never felt any iota of that. Having worked with him for so long, no one has ever felt that. So that part of him, he has to fight back. And so for an attorney to cover his case, like I'm not an attorney, I'm just a pop culture reporter, right? I can just talk out of opinion, but for an attorney to cover his case and roll her eyes and talk about it, it does confuse me, right? Attorneys should stay like non-biased. Now, a lot of people are also saying that Ryan Reynolds follows Nick Vile and Natalie, his wife, as well, who are very strong supporters of Blake Lively. In addition, as much as I love her, not skinny but not fat, Amanda Hirsch has been a staunch supporter of Blake Lively through this as well. Ryan Reynolds also follows Not Skinny but Not Fat, as does the Toast Girls. Ryan Reynolds follows the Toast online, and they've talked about it. They're very excited about the fact that Deadpool, the Toast, Ryan Reynolds follows the Toast, and they have never once gone against Blake Lively. It's interesting. It's like a through line. Like, if Ryan Reynolds follows me, am I going to have to all of a sudden be like, whoops, I support Blake? It's a weird, like, a lasso situation with Ryan Reynolds. Like, I follow you. Now you're in my corner. Everyone keeps saying, why did Sony allow for this? Why did Sony allow for this? It's called the power of Ryan Reynolds. It's called money, honey. You know, people really, really want to feel that Ryan Reynolds is in your corner because he controls a lot of this world. We'll see if this continues after this, because I think he's taking a major hit. If I'm mistaken, I'll be shocked. But I think Ryan Reynolds will take a massive hit in his career and his popularity after this, especially if it goes to trial. We'll see. We'll see what continues. But it doesn't make me not respect Emily D. Baker. I'm putting that out there big time because I really like her as an attorney, but I'm just very interested how different attorneys are covering it. A lot of people are saying there's other attorneys that are covering it online. There's someone called The Lawyer You Know. I'm curious how they're covering it. I would like to follow I don't know a lot of YouTube attorneys, but I'm interested because I know how pop culture people are reporting it. Some are very pro Blake. Some are very pro Justin. And that's okay. Like, we are allowed to have our opinions, not according to, the random YouTube commenter, Susan. Sorry, no offense to Susans out there, but there's always that one random commenter that said, who are you? You're not allowed to have an opinion. Who are you, Donna? Donna. They always call me Donna. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into the story. The story, Morning Glory. It's a Saturday. I had a martini last night, not this morning. Don't go crazy. I'm going out with my girlfriends tonight. What are you guys up to? Are you doing anything fun? So last we left off, I want to say we were probably around the editing portion of the story. Remember, we were talking about the editors by the way, if you're just joining today, go back and listen to Thursday and Friday's episodes of Daily Dose of Donna. That's when we were talking about the beginning part of the lawsuit. And then yesterday we went into the editing part of the lawsuit when she completely tried to take over the editing of it. And then all of a sudden Justin Baldoni wasn't even able to read see his own cut of the film. The editors, this is kind of where we left off, where Justin said the editors and the director isn't even allowed to look at an actress's cut. Got it. Okay, well, here we go. We'll keep taking the high road. So this is kind of where. Oh yeah, then we talked about how the both cuts were scoring differently with different people. Remember how the cut for her film was scoring higher with men, and the cut for his film was scoring higher with women, which is actually their audience. And then he got really sick. Remember, his spine, he had some spinal infection, and he couldn't make ADR, and he was sending letters to he was sending text messages to the editor saying, guys, I'm sorry, I'm out of here. And then it said in paragraph 148, it says we're on page 84. It says, Lively shamelessly removed Baldoni from all posters, trailers, and other promotional materials. She continued to refuse to promote the film otherwise. And just reminding you guys, it ends with us promotional poster. This was the promotional poster. This one. Do you guys remember? This is the only one that we ever saw. Just her. Just Blake. And those damn flowers. Just those flowers. crazy. So then we're in June 18th. We're still about 2 months before Joe is here, and he says, for us, it ends with page 179. If we ever get there, you guys bring your sleeping bags. We'll be here all weekend. So on June 18th, remember, we're still about 2 months before the actual movie comes out. It says for Wayfarer, it says the production company is sending an email to Jamie Heath and says, hey, Jamie, we had a very successful weekend at Book Bonanza. This is when they were starting to promote the movie at Book Bonanza, which is, I guess, like an inner, I don't even know. This is a book movie. This was really big on Book Talk, TOK, Book Talk. It says, since it's already been released internationally in many markets, it only makes sense for us to use domestically as well. This is the poster. We'd love to start printing tomorrow to get into theaters. However, this version doesn't even have Justin Baldoni's A Film By credit. So we would need to waive that. Please let me know if this is approved. It says, over Sony's objection, Lively insisted on screening her cut at Book Bonanza, Colleen Hoover's annual convention hosting authors. And this is Colleen Hoover's annual convention. Really interesting, guys. Colleen Hoover, who famously took Blake Lively's side here. This is her convention. So Baldoni had long been excited to attend this, but Sony made it known to Wayfarer that per Lively, Baldoni could not attend it. He couldn't even go to Book Bonanza, even though he was excited to go. Lively appeared on a panel alongside Hoover and other cast members, icing out Baldoni from the critical event for his own film. Let's see if we can find footage from Book Bonanza. Book Bonanza 2024. Guys, I've turned into, interesting. It was at June 13th to the 15th at Gaylord Texan Resort. Gaylord. Has anyone ever been to Gaylord? I would like to go to Gaylord in life. Okay. Oh, you guys, this is Book Bonanza. Sorry. Is there a way for you to look at her without wanting to vomit? Sorry for Emily, who's in my live. Emily is over here in my live. I hate that I said that word out loud because Emily just found out she's pregnant. I saw. Congratulations, Emily. As we say in Hebrew, Mazel Tov. Just found out I'm pregnant recently, so feeling mostly nauseous tonight. Well, I'm sorry that I'm showing you a picture of this. You may actually get nauseous now. You may actually have to throw up because here's a picture of Colleen Hoover, Blake Lively, and Brandon Sklenar, who plays Atlas, at Book Bonanza. And they completely, they iced Justin Baldoni out. He was not allowed to be here. And look at them smiling so happily here. Is there music playing? I hope there's not, because good, there's not. What the hell? This really upsets me. Should I comment? This upsets me. I just commented. Book Bonanza, I'm pissed. I'm pissed. I'm going to stand up for Justin. Should I do hashtag free Justin? There you go. I'm hashtagging free Justin on Book Bonanza all over the place. I'm gonna spam Book Bonanza. Hey Donna, how old are you? Well, only 43. I only act 7. Okay, so now we have a visual of this thing that he was absolutely uninvited to. So all these other cast members were there. He was not even allowed to review the final cut of the movie before it was shown to the world, guys. The director of the movie. Jen Abel, this is Justin Baldoni's PR person, publicist, says, hi, Jamie just filled me in about BookCon. I know this is devastating and such a kick in the gut. It's petty and childish at this point. I'm just making sure you're okay. We will get through this. I am the prize. Her attending BookCon is a win for the film ultimately. And if she wants to drag her ass to Texas, then let her. You can be home with your family, which is important. Justin says, she's kicked me out officially from the film now. She's finishing it all. I can't be involved. Music, sound, virtual effects, everything. I'll make it through somehow. Just need to feel it all. Seriously, F her. I'm mad. You know what? As a woman, she's upsetting me. June 14th, 2024. Editor says, looks fun. By the way, picture was supposed to get locked this week. Did that happen? Just curious what version is going out into the world with all of our names on it. Justin says, I'll watch soon. No idea, read the picture. Evidently, they were all at Book Bonanza. Hard. Editor says, oh boy. Justin says, but second test didn't go any better. Over 35 went down and under stayed same. I guess Sony asked for more changes to get it closer to our cut, but I haven't watched. They're showing it at Book Bonanza. Editor says, the whole movie? He says, yep, hers. Editor says, wow. Justin says, was supposed to be ours, and then I was uninvited. Whole thing is pretty cruel and intense. Editor goes, unfucking believable. Ugh, sorry, Justin. Justin says, I love you both. Editor gives hearts. And then the other editor also gives hearts. And the other editor says, I just hope you love for at least stomach the cut that's going out in the world. And he says, haven't seen it, can't yet. I am seriously sick. And Andrea brings up a really good point. Imagine if this happened to a female director. We would be out there picketing, protesting, and putting on our pussy hats. I am being honest. Like, if this happened to a woman, the world would freak the F out. We would all be hashtagging Me Too. We would be out there like standing up for women's rights. We would be burning bras. But because this is happening to a man, it's like, okay. And Colleen Hoover just allowed for this? Because what? She hadn't even said that he was sexually harassing her yet at this point. And the whole cast just stood by her? This is disgusting. You guys wanted to know if I was going to give my hot takes? It's crazy. Okay, by July 2024, Baldoni was completely locked out of the film's final cut. By virtue of his role at Wayfarer, he was permitted to give notes as a studio. This only added insult to injury because he should not have been giving notes. He should have been editing the film. Despite his personal feelings, he redirected his thoughts to focus on the one positive, the film. Years in the making, he was very close to being seen by the world, even if it was no longer his film. He prayed for the possibility that the film could still make the impact he intended when he first reached out to Colin Hoover in 2019. This is the editors, I believe. It says, Justin, just wanted to check in. Are you back to 100% and any updates on our little movie? Just hoping all is good with everyone and everything. Justin says, sorry, I missed this. It's July 1st. This is still a month before the premiere. Sorry, I missed this. Didn't mean to not respond. Really been distancing myself from the movie as best as I can for my sanity. Lots of great internal work, finding real gratitude. Been some more hard things over the last weeks that would blow your mind. We'll all catch up soon. Today, I have to give notes on the final mix. I have not seen the locked cut of the film. Evidently, it's been worked on more and she's been mixing. I'm getting to give notes as a studio today, not a director. Very hard, but I'm okay. Really doing a lot of work to detach. We made a beautiful baby together. The baby might not grow up to exactly who we thought, but it's still beautiful. That's what I'm holding on to. Very proud of us. Says, wow, I can't say I'm shocked because I was hoping that you were going to be able to not let this beat you down. And it sounds like you have achieved that. And yes, the movie we handed her was so good that even if it's been screwed with, the base work will still shine through. The last I heard was that she was putting back a fair amount of our version, just not what that entailed to or what extent. I guess you'll find out today. Hang in there and we'll all catch up when the wounds are not quite as fresh. Sending love to you both. Justin says, if you think about it, this is September 8th, 2024. So this is now a month after the film has been released. Justin says, if you think about it, we didn't even finish our director's cut because she intervened. So ideally, at some point, we can take a week and all just do it together for ourselves. But that opens up a can of worms. So we will need to let this play out for a while before we pull that card. And your door will be knocked on. The amount of women who feel seen, that it's reaching people all over the world, that men are remembering their own traumas and having conversations with their partners. That's why we did this, and it worked. Still the dream team. Incredible. That's the best news. Number 152. Lively was still not satisfied. This woman, I'm sorry, I understand we're reading an attorney's words and like we're supposed to be falling for their side, but like I'm falling right into it. Like I am falling right into this person's hands because I see text messages, right? Lively was still not satisfied. She continued to extort Wayfarer, Baldoni, and even Sony, threatening to abandon her contractual obligation to promote the film or approve marketing materials if she wasn't awarded a producer credit. And though Wayfarer had refused long ago to accede to this request when it was made during initial negotiations, Wayfarer now had its back against the wall and again had to concede. This still wasn't enough. Lively later sought the coveted PGA mark on her producer credit. This PGA is by the Producers Guild of America. It's a certified designation licensed to identify producers who have performed the majority of the producing work on a motion picture. Neither Baldoni nor Wayfarer believed Lively fulfilled the requisite criteria to earn this mark, but that didn't matter to Lively. Lively demanded, again with extortionate threats, that Baldoni, Heath, other producers, and department heads send letters to the PGA in support of her certification for the PGA mark. Despite unanimous recognition of the absurdity and the unmistakably extortionate threats, Sony and other parties, despite being adamant not to support Lively's demand for the unentitled mark, ultimately acquiesced and submitted letters of support. But Wayfarer and Baldoni firmly resisted. Oh my God. Brian says Blake is a member of the PGA, Problematic Girl Association. I am a proud member of the PGA. I'm probably a proud member of the PWA, Problematic Women Association, but whatever. I'm just a girl. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, so Baldoni was thinking, and Wayfarer, they're saying she did not perform the duties of her producer and did not merit the PGA mark. So they didn't want to give her that PGA. So they were really trying to fight it, and they didn't want to lie. In response, Lively instructed Sony to tell Wayfarer and Baldoni that any goodwill left between us is done. Eventually, in the face of persistent threats and extortion, Wayfarer and Baldoni were left with little choice but to draft sign a letter of support on Lively's behalf, but not before Heath sent an email to Wayfarer's attorneys documenting that he and Baldoni were signing the letter under duress. So this was the letter. Basically, Jamie saying, this is June 27th. Jamie's basically sending a letter to everyone in the production saying, we don't want to sign this letter. We absolutely do not want to sign this letter, but we're signing this letter because we are feeling trapped. It's saying, without going into the details, Justin and I ended up having to write the letter because we feel trapped. We feel trapped. She continues to hold a threat over our heads, and every time we try and hold a line to the fire, every time we try and hold a line, she uses that threat either directly or indirectly to get us to fold. I mean, this is insane. How can she fight that? And then, of course, on June 26th, they wrote the letter. And the letter is essentially saying that, yes, she's a producer. So it's obvious that they had to write the letter and like essentially, not literally, but what do they say? Figuratively with a gun to his head. As the premiere of the film approached, Lively made good on her promise and instructed Sony that she and the cast would not participate in any marketing or promotion of the film alongside Baldoni. For no reason, guys. In spite of Baldoni and Wayfarer's acquiesce to all of her demands, she made certain that Baldoni was removed from all artwork of the film and stripped him of his, quote, a film by credit. Lively, and remember, she didn't do it because she said to Sony, because he sexually harassed me. Like, it's not like she said to Sony, I will not stand by him because that man sexually harassed me. She didn't say that. That would be one thing. If she went to Sony HR and said, guys, I cannot in good faith promote this movie with him or stand by him on the red carpet because he sexually harassed me. She didn't say that ever. If she said that, that would make more sense for this case. If there was proof that she was saying to Sony this entire time, I don't feel comfortable standing with him on a red carpet. I don't feel comfortable doing press with him ever. I don't want him to be on the promotional materials with me because he sexually harassed me this entire film. This would track. But she never said that. She never once used those words at all until December 20th of 2024. She just pushed him out. At this point, Lively and Reynolds also unfollowed Baldoni on social media, as did the author of the book, someone with whom Baldoni had maintained a 5-year personal relationship and for whom Baldoni created this opportunity. That has got to sting. It has got to sting that Colleen Hoover, literally, who's like a fangirl of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, who, in my opinion, and as far as I know, I believe is part of the reason that Blake Lively was even cast, because I think Colleen Hoover actually was just a huge fan of Blake Lively. So I think I think Colleen Hoover was just so excited that she finally had Blake Lively in her circle. And that's like Taylor Swift too, and Ryan Reynolds. And she's like a fangirl that she immediately jumped on Blake Lively's side. Okay, Blake, yes, I will do anything you say, like a freaking cult. And totally not only listened to Blake and Ryan Reynolds and did whatever she said, but unfollowed Justin Baldoni and pushed him aside like the dork in high school. Oh, you're like the dorky kid who I'm not going to talk to. This is feeling so can't buy me love. You know what I mean? It's like can't buy me love. It's like all of a sudden we can't talk to you. No one wants to talk to you. You have to sit over there. No one look at him. No one look at him. It's so effed. What did he do? What did he do? The other cast members also unfollowed Baldoni. Total mean girl behavior, creating the false impression that Baldoni had done something wrong. On information and belief, Lively induced the other cast members to shun Baldoni in an early attempt to give fans the impression that Baldoni had committed an egregious sin, something so egregious that no one wanted to even take photos with him or have him around. Lively was leaving what she had earlier referred to as crumbs, a social media strategy she had learned from a close celebrity friend. Does her name rhyme with Schmaler Schmeft? A social media strategy she had learned from a close celebrity friend to give fans just enough to allow them to come to their own conclusions, thereby launching an army of detectives that on information and belief Lively hoped would turn against Baldoni. The unfollowing of Baldoni by cast members and even the author of the book, whom he had a long-standing relationship with, was done without warning or any communication from them, in stark contrast to the warm praise and appreciation cast members had until that point that it always showered on him. For example, Isabella Ferrer, cast as young Lily, that's a young version of Blake Lively, exchanged grateful texts with Baldoni during and after her filming stint, which included a number of scenes involving intimacy. This is the young version of Lily. It says, you did awesome today. This is from Justin. This is on May 4th, 2023. You did awesome today. So happy to be working with you. She says, thank you so much. I'm so excited. Thank you for being a great director and being so wonderful to work with already. Let me know whenever you need me for anything. He says, so kind. More to come. You're going to kill it. She loved that. And then she also said on July 11th, so now this is 2 months later, she goes, hey, just got my film developed from when we were shooting, so here's this sweet pic. I also have to say thank you so much for an incredible experience on my first film. So this is after they filmed. This is 2 months later. I still can't shake the feeling of it all because it was truly life-changing for me. You are such a wonderful, smart, and sincere director, and you created such a comfortable, safe space for me to feel like I could fully step into this role. I couldn't have asked for a more welcoming environment. It will stay with me for the rest of my life. See you soon, whether in the fall or later, and hope you're doing well. And this is the picture that she attached, and they kind of cut a lot of it out. And he said, Isabella, wow, what a kind message. You were such a joy and pleasure to work with. Your openness, your raw talent, your kindness, and your excitement made me fall in love with directing again. I am so excited for your career and for everyone to see you in this film. You have a big career in front of you. Looking forward to seeing you again in September, even if we don't need you to work. Come visit. Because they were planning on reshooting the second movie. It says, tellingly, Ferrer worked with Baldoni when Lively was not on the set. It was not until Ferrer spent substantial time with Lively during film promotions that Ferrer felt compelled to shun Baldoni in repudiation of her warm words. It became clear that Lively was laying the groundwork to explain away her theft of the film and exile of Baldoni. Presumably, she was concerned that her shocking conduct would be frowned upon if it became widely known. Baldoni had no intention of ever making this information public. In fact, as co-star of the film, both he and his studio, who co-financed the film and had spent millions of dollars, had every reason to want the film to succeed. Any suggestion otherwise is illogical. Baldoni promoted the film as originally intended. He gave Lively full credit and praise and had done everything in his power at every painful turn of making this film with Lively to ensure the film succeeded. He wanted to move on, and Lively, however, would not let it go. Baldoni later received word that during the premiere of his movie Deadpool and Wolverine, so when was that? We should find out. Okay. Reynolds approached Baldoni's agency, namely an executive at William Morris, and expressed his deep disdain for Baldoni, suggesting the agency was working with a sexual predator, a phrase that uncoincidentally later appeared in the press, and at a later date demanded that the agent drop Baldoni. His wielding of power and influence became undeniable. Baldoni and Wayfarer grew increasingly fearful of what Lively and Reynolds. Oh, thank you. Okay, Blue Muse says it was on July 22nd, 2024. Appreciate that, you guys. I've got my little research team here. You know what? Take Blake out of the. I'm Khaleesi. You are my dragons. Just kidding. Totally kidding, by the way. I would never. July 22nd, 2024. So this is a month before the premiere of the film. This is 1 month before, or less than a month before the premiere of It Ends With Us. Baldoni and Wayfarer grew increasingly fearful of what Lively and Reynolds were capable of, as their actions seemed aimed at destroying Baldoni's career and personal life. This pivotal moment terrified Baldoni and ultimately caused him to seek help anywhere he could to protect his reputation, his partners, and his wife, children, and family from false accusations that could ruin their lives. Desperate, terrified, and in this position for the first time, he sought expert guidance. This is very important, you guys. He heard at this premiere. Okay, so get this. This is an important kind of turn in the case. It's July. They finished filming the movie. At this point, he's noticing that things are kind of turning. Book bonanza is happening. He's not invited. He's starting to notice that people are unfollowing him on social media. Promotion's kind of starting to lift up and he's not being invited with everything. And then he finds out that at the premiere of Deadpool and Wolverine, he's hearing that Lively and Reynolds are going around and telling his agent that they should drop him. He's starting to realize that Lively and Reynolds somewhat own Hollywood. Okay? So what are you going to do? What are you going to do in this moment? What are you going to do in this moment and are you going to have a moment here where you're going to start to say, holy shit, are they going to take me down? What are you going to do? if you are in a position where your whole career can explode in front of you by two of the most powerful people in Hollywood at this moment, you're not going to sit back and just let it happen, right? If you have resources in your corner, which is Wayfarer Productions, which is owned by a man who is a billionaire, you're probably going to try to protect yourself. I'm just trying to put myself in Justin Baldoni's shoes, right? Probably going to protect myself proactively. So this is when he goes and hires his crisis team. It says he sought expert guidance and was advised to engage into crisis PR to be ready in case Reynolds and Lively decided to unleash their wrath on them. As is customary, a proposal was prepared for him with available measures and quotes of what each suggested measure would cost. The proposal, wrongfully obtained from the very public relations company that once represented Baldoni. This is where that Stephanie Jones girl was coming in and was saying that, the Stephanie Jones, and let me pull out, that sounds sexual. Let me pull out for a second and remind you guys really fast about this. By the way, I got a question here and I want to say this really fast. Angel says, Donna, have you been threatened by Ryan or Blake because your podcast is really popular and I was worried about them coming for you? I pray not. We love you. Unless they sent a fire after Los Angeles, no. I'm not worried about it whatsoever. I have free speech. I am not owned by anyone. I am Daily Dose of Donna and I have I'm not owned by anyone and I don't work in the Hollywood industry. What can they do for me? This is my opinion. I'm just reading a lawsuit, my opinion. And thank God I have my own show and I'm not a casting director anymore. But I will say this in terms of Stephanie Jones. So Stephanie Jones is this PR rep that Justin Baldoni went to. This was his PR rep who worked with Jennifer Abel, who was always his PR rep at the time. So he was working with them and with Stephanie Jones and Jennifer Abel, they all together went on to hire this Melissa Nathan woman. And Melissa Nathan is that crisis PR that used to work with Johnny Depp and has worked with people like, I can't remember off the top of my head, like crazy people. Like I can't remember some of their big cases, but they've worked with some really, really huge crisis PR people. And in that moment, the reason why this is important is because Stephanie Jones, who is, I would say this is not even a question. She is very polarizing in this industry. I've gotten so many DMs from people who have worked directly with her who said she's the worst in Hollywood, allegedly. But there's articles and articles and articles about how horrible she is to work with. She's Tom Brady's PR person. You can Google her. There's websites called StephanieJonesLies.com, LIES.com. She's challenging. Okay. She's a big toughie out there. She is the reason for this lawsuit, in my opinion, because she is the person that has leaked those original text messages over to Blake's team because she wanted to get back at her former employee. That's that Jennifer Abel woman who ended up leaving, starting her own company and taking Justin Baldoni with her. So she's the person that kind of got the ball rolling on this lawsuit, in my opinion. And I just know that I spoke to my source, who I've told you guys before, who has a family member who works at William Morris, who's very high up at William Morris, and a family member who works at Sony, who's very high up at Sony. So this person's very in the know. And I asked him, what are your thoughts on all of this? And he said, I would take a higher look at Stephanie Jones. So Stephanie Jones is like ground zero of all of this, which I find very interesting. Okay, let's go back to the case. By the way, can I just take this moment to hit subscribe? Don't forget to hit subscribe. If you are here, please subscribe. Make sure to subscribe and like this video. And if you're listening to the audio version, have you hit a 5-star yet? Have you left a review for the audio podcast? Because that is all that it needs to grow the show and make sure that Ryan Reynolds doesn't come after and sue me. He's got bigger fish to fry, right? But make sure you subscribe. Okay, let's keep going. What question? Hamilton says, question, if you are still a casting director, would you feel the need to be cautious about speaking out against Blake? If I was still a casting director, I probably wouldn't be doing Daily Dose of Donna, most likely. But if I was still a casting director, would I talk about Blake? I wouldn't be able to do the show. I wouldn't be able to be honest because I'd have to still play the game, right? I'd still have to be playing the stupid political game of Hollywood. But I've gotten so many DMs behind the scenes from casting directors and from agents who have told me all the real stories about Blake. And they ain't good. Okay, let's move on. So this proposal, wrongfully obtained from Stephanie Jones, was later used by Lively to knowingly and falsely assert that Baldoni had agreed to the most aggressive option in the proposal. Lively falsely and ironically alleges Baldoni set out on a smear campaign to destroy Lively, despite the thousands of documents she alleges to have that would prove otherwise. Notwithstanding, Lively, her team, and the Times, New York Times, worked in concert, meaning together, to cherry pick. They love that word, cherry pick. Deliberately misconstrue, splice, and alter private communications to manufacture a self-serving and factually baseless narrative. So this is all taken from her complaint, which is when basically they took every single text message you guys remember in her complaint. They were basically taking everything and cutting shit out to make it look like they were completely trying to take her down. And we've talked about this before, so I'm not going to go so deep into it. But essentially, they were taking text messages from his PR team that were like, oh my God, we're going to take her down. But then they were leaving out emojis where it was saying, LOL, yeah, right, that's not us. Or I can't believe that this is coming out without us having anything to do with us or whatever, you know? Ray says 780. Yeah, now 787 people are watching. Make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, so this is all kind of old. We've gone through this before, but all of the manipulation that she did in her original complaint that the New York Times seriously messed up by publishing without doing due diligence and seeing that it was literally fake news. Because you cannot, absolutely you cannot publish fake stuff and put it out there. Okay, there are new texts revealed here. Let's see. I mean, I can go through. Let me see if there's anything really important here. I mean, essentially, it's just more of the same. It's essentially like, okay. I don't want to spend too much time on things that I can't really. It's if you go through this part, this is on page like 96 to 100. It's more and more and more of things that are cut out and that and it's showing exactly how they've cut things out and added things, and it's showing that they made it look. Oh, this is important. Oh, this is very important. This is good. This is really important. Thank you. This page is important. Okay. So this was part of her original complaint that it made it look like even his own team, okay, with the red star, you guys, thank you. Even his own team was fighting about or was talking about how inappropriate he was, right? They were talking about how inappropriate he was because in her complaint, there were these complaints or this conversation that they were having between the two women over here, and I'm going to make it really big. I hope you guys can see it. It's kind of like blurry because when I make it big here, it says Miss Nathan, which is the crisis PR person, that says Miss Nathan then bragged to Miss Abel, that's his public relations person, that Mr. Baldoni doesn't realize how lucky he is right now, by which they were referring to their successful efforts to shut down stories that would have revealed how Mr. Baldoni's behavior, including sexual connotations on set, had made cast and crew uncomfortable. So when I read her complaint here, okay, when I read her complaint, I saw this, and I'll read it out loud to you guys. I saw this and I said, oh my gosh, even his own team thought that he was kind of creepy, right? Because even his own team says in this text, Melissa Nathan says, I have to make it smaller because it's actually kind of hard to read. Melissa says, he doesn't realize how lucky he is right now. We need to press on him just how fucking lucky. And then Melissa also says, the whispering in the ear, the sexual connotations, like Jesus fucking Christ. Other members feeling uncomfortable watching it. I mean, there is just so much. Okay. Now, if you go over here, so there's that. But this is the actual text. You guys ready? Jen says, oh my God. No, Melissa says, oh my God, yes, you will die. Then Jen says, he doesn't realize how lucky he is right now. We need to press on him just how fucking lucky. The whispering in the ear, the sexual connotations like Jesus fucking Christ. Other members feeling uncomfortable watching it. I mean, there is just so much. Doesn't matter if it's not true. And then Melissa says, or sorry, that was Melissa. And then Jen says, I know, I don't think they get that. They think the truth wins. And then Melissa says, no, it doesn't. And then Jen says, and I'm like, we are dealing with a psychopath who literally called you a sexual predator. Let's all be happy with difficult. Whoa. Do you guys really? Thank you, Kai, by the way. I don't know, Kai. I don't know if you're normally in my lives. I don't know if you're normally in my lives, but I love you. And please come back. And if you're not subscribed, please become a Daily Dose of Donna friend and member and become my bestie, because thank God you're here, that you just forced me to focus on that. This is so huge because this was the one thing that got me, that made me question everything about everything, because I said his own people thought, like, oh gosh, he has these people calling him like saying things about him, like he was whispering in their ear and calling him a sexual predator and this and this and that. This one moment, do you guys get it? If anyone in the comments here is maybe saying like, what is going on? I'm confused. Let me know. I will repeat this. This is so groundbreaking in this moment. I mean, I want to like send Kai flowers for forcing me to stop on this. This is huge. And by the way, where are you? I love your Mrs. Busted Can of Biscuits. Thank you for the super sticker. I'm obsessed with you. I am in shock over this moment. Does anyone else understand this? Or does everyone understand this? This is such a big bombshell moment right here. I'm falling over. I am actually falling over. I'm sitting up, but I'm falling over inside. I'm shocked over this. This here is exactly why she lost the case. Oh my God. And Kaya's giving me a super sticker. I love you. She says, had me absolutely flabbergasted after reading her complaint. Why lie so blatantly? Love you and subscribed. Please don't do that. Please take your money back. And I love you. No, you made this live happen. You know what? This is called Daily Dose of Kai. Guys, go follow Kai at Daily Dose of Kai. That is so upsetting to me. I actually want to cry for Justin Baldoni. Like, this is my sensitive moment coming out. Like, I'm so sad for him in this moment. He's a dad. Let me explain. Someone just said, go over it again. People are confused. One more time. In originally Blake Lively's complaint, there was this one portion here on the left where she said in her complaint that Miss Nathan, that's Melissa Nathan, bragged to Miss Abel, that's his PR person, that they basically were talking about how lucky Justin Baldoni was, because he doesn't even know how lucky he is, because there were so many stories of cast and crew feeling uncomfortable on set, right? There were so many stories about how his behavior was making people uncomfortable, the sexual connotations on set. And Melissa Nathan says he doesn't even realize how lucky he is right now. We need to remind him just how fucking lucky he is. The whispering in the ear, the sexual connotations, like Jesus fucking Christ. Other members feeling uncomfortable watching. I mean, there's just so much. That's what she put in her complaint. We all saw that and we were just thinking like, oh my God, he's disgusting. And then now that we see the full text messages that she didn't cut up, we see that actually what happened, and now I'll zoom in for this part. The actual full connotation of the message says, he doesn't realize how lucky he is right now. We need to press on him just how fucking lucky. The whispering in the ear, the sexual connotations like Jesus fucking Christ. Other members feeling uncomfortable watching it. I mean, there's just so much. Doesn't matter if it's not true. Doesn't matter if it's not true. And then the other person says, I know, I don't think they get that. They think the truth wins. No, it doesn't. And I am like, we are dealing with a psychopath who literally called you a sexual predator. Let's all be happy with difficult. Because people were saying he's difficult on set. And Justin was upset. Why are they saying I'm difficult? And they're saying, no, you don't understand. Take difficult and run with it. Difficult is good. You're being compared to a sexual predator. And people are saying that there's lies about you, that people are saying that you're making them uncomfortable and this and that. Those are all lies. Difficult, you're so lucky to just get difficult. None of that other stuff is true. Does that make sense? I hope you guys understand that now. Let's move on. Sorry, I just got really excited by that belief. Then it continues by saying, the text message continues. I have it on text message, by the way. Unbelievable. Let's be really happy with difficult. And he told him we took out misogynist. Leslie can't possibly believe that. Let's give it a day to calm and let's call Jamie together tomorrow and we can explain to him a few things together. And socials are really, really ramping up. In his favor, she must be furious. It's actually sad because it just shows you how people really want to believe a woman. Okay, or to hate on women. That was the text that was in that was included. Okay. Meanwhile, Lively systematically excluded Baldoni from all marketing and promotional efforts. Okay, we all had that. The purported marketing plan allegedly, oh my God, what am I missing? Oh, okay. We're going to keep going. Okay. The purported marketing plan allegedly created by Sony, which was later referenced in Lively's CRD complaint as agreed to by all. You remember that the marketing plan was never the plan Baldoni agreed to. So this is the marketing plan of the yes, this is the marketing plan by Sony. It goes on. It says positioning. This talks about it. And then it says what to avoid. Focus more on Lily's strength and resilience as opposed to describing the film as a story about domestic violence, so on and so forth. It talks about Sony's plan. But then it says, in fact, against much resistance from the film's direct distributor, Baldoni, from day one, made it clear that he was making this film to bring awareness to domestic violence and would not refrain from doing so when promoting the film. He did not go rogue, as Lively alleges. On August 11th, he sends a text. Says, good morning, team. So I was thinking about the response to this weekend, and I feel like what we should do is make sure to emphasize the voices of the survivors. It's going to be a lot of buzz how much money the movie made, but I want to be the one that always directs it back to the survivors. So I would love to come up with some sort of video or carousel of messages from survivors in the response to the film. While in Sweden celebrating his wife's birthday, Baldoni was informed that Lively demanded he not attend the film's premiere on August 6th. Lively further threatened that if Baldoni attended the premiere, she and the majority of the cast would boycott. It remained unclear what Lively had communicated to or promised the cast, but they now also refused to attend if Baldoni was present. The fact that Sony advised Wayfarer to concede underscores Lively and Reynolds' immense power and influence. Baldoni and Wayfarer refused to succumb to the bullying tactics aimed at excluding them from the premiere of their film, a project they had financed, produced, and owned. This threat marked the culmination of a year-long campaign of intimidation, harassment, and civil extortion. Although objectively egregious and shocking, the Wayfarer team had unfortunately grown accustomed to the bullying, fully aware of the immense power this couple wielded and the far-reaching extent of their influence. However, they refused to give in to this entirely unreasonable demand and valiantly searched for a compromise with Lively so that they could attend the premiere of the film that Baldoni had directed and co-starred in and that Wayfarer had co-financed and produced. Heath moved mountains to negotiate a scenario that Lively would permit with the help of Sony, as Lively refused to speak to anyone connected to Wayfarer. So this goes into why he actually ended up at the premiere and ended up in the basement. A lot of you guys have questions like, why would he even go? Or how did she have that power to get him into the basement? Sorry, it's a lot of reading and I'm thirsty. Just days before the film's premiere. By the way, I have to say, like, just as a side note, if I was Sony right now, I'd be so embarrassed. Like, this is so embarrassing for Sony that they were so in the palm of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's hands. I would be so embarrassed. And the reason why is because Sony has a huge deal with Ryan Reynolds because they're producing Clue. Excuse me. Sony has a huge deal with Ryan Reynolds. They're producing the movie Clue. I'm pretty sure that's their only thing right now. Yeah, the Clue remake. Sony will be the latest to try the remake Clue, this time for both film and TV. Ryan Reynolds and Jason Bateman were circling the Hasbro board game adaptation. Sony is starting fresh. There's something going on with that. And then Ryan Reynolds, listen, for Sony to ruin their relationship with Ryan Reynolds would be such an incredible loss for them that you can understand why they would so never want to end that relationship. But this is really, really embarrassing for Sony that they like just fell to their knees at Ryan and Blake's request, that they completely just, I mean, I'm sure they never thought this would come out. Okay. Just days before the film's premiere, Baldoni was still unsure if he would be allowed to attend. His friends and family, most traveling from outside New York, were left in limbo, unable to finalize travel plans or book flights. Baldoni did the best he could to hide his pain. Despite still not having seen the final cut of the movie he co-starred, co-financed, and directed, he wanted to celebrate the culmination of his years of work with his family and friends. He wrote to the editor, "Long story, but we won't be in the same room. I was asked to not even come to the premiere. I can figure it out." He said, "Well, if you decide to change your mind last minute, let me know and let's figure it out together. I'm going to be there. That's just different timing and holding areas and theaters and all the things you can imagine. It's still our film." The editor said, "It would be very hard for me to sit and watch the final film for the first time at the premiere. Just cheer for us when our names come up, sending all love." And Justin says, "Okay, I haven't seen it either." I mean, it's psycho. Finally, through Sony, Wayfarer persuaded Lively to permit Baldoni and the Wayfarer team, along with their friends and family, to attend, though only under demeaning and humiliating conditions. They were relegated to a separate theater to view the film, required to arrive at a different time than the rest of the cast, and instructed to leave the red carpet immediately once Lively arrived. He was also excluded from the official celebrity after party, despite it being an event ultimately paid for by Sony and Wayfarer. As a result, Baldoni had to quickly organize and fund a separate after party for himself and the Wayfarer team. He had to throw his own party, forcing the company to cover the cost for two events, one for Lively and everyone else, and one for Baldoni and Wayfarer's own friends. Family, crew, and team. And you guys have seen those pictures, right? Here are the pictures. And this is literally, now we have literal proof Oh, my dear Shailene Johnson is here. I love you. Thank you so much for your sticker. I've been seeing your Patreon deep dive. She has a great Patreon deep dive on this too. This is literal proof of Justin Baldoni making lemonade out of lemons in a basement at the premiere of his own film. Look at that. It's not a joke. He's sitting on pallets of water with his parents and his wife and his friends at the premiere of his own film. Shailene says, what is the known relationship between Ryan, Blake, and ScarJo? Curious if Wayfarer's involvement with ScarJo at the same time fueled tension. That's a really good question. So obviously, as you guys know, Ryan and Scarlett Johansson used to be together, used to be married, and Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds met on Green Lantern, on the set of Green Lantern. And it's not officially a known thing, but it's very well rumored that Ryan Reynolds and Scarlett Johansson did in fact start their relationship while he was with Scarlett Johansson. I'm sorry, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds started their relationship while he was with Scarlett Johansson. The rumor is that he definitely did leave Scarlett for Blake. Okay, that's the rumor. If that's the case, that's the rumor, okay? If so, that would be some bad blood between Blake and Scarlett, right? Even if they didn't, there wasn't an overlap, I do think that there was probably some bad blood. And isn't that interesting that Scarlett Johansson is on deck to direct a film produced by Wayfarer? That is known, and that's in the works right now. So there is definitely some weird triangle happening coming up right now. I don't know if that's the cause of some of this tension or the result of some of this. But I have some theories of, if you've been watching me on TikTok and on Instagram, of where all of this tension did get to. And we can get into that because I do think a lot of why all of this did turn, and you guys have been watching this for a long time, is because, oh, this is interesting. So Charlene says ScarJo was filming at the same time with the Wayfarer film at the same area. I do believe that in my heart, I do believe that a lot of this tension between Justin Baldoni and the Lively Reynolds camp came from some of those earlier text messages that I covered on Thursday. The one where she's saying, he said, I like sentimental Blake at 2 a.m. And she said, never met her. And he said, you guys remember that text, right? I think it's on page. Was it? Where was that text? I have the picture somewhere, but there's a nice little text between the two of them that showed their relationship, and it was very flirty, in my opinion. That's what I thought. I took it as a very, very flirty text, and then I said to myself, and I asked my husband this as well, and I asked actually another couple I was with last night. I said, look, you're a married person. If your husband saw this and looked at him and saw how hot he was and knew that you guys have this relationship with each other, do you think that maybe Ryan Reynolds had a little bit of a moment? So this is May 11th. This was right as production was starting. This was them, talking about each other and texting each other. This is 2 a.m. I thought it was 11 p.m., but it was actually 2:44 a.m. Sending each other very nice little text messages. So I do believe there was a little bit of a moment there where Ryan Reynolds was not feeling very comfortable about their relationship. And in my gut feeling, and look, I am not a psychic and I'm not a therapist and I'm not a lawyer. I'm nothing. I'm just a person. I'm just a girl, right? And as Paige DeSorbo likes to say, a girl's girl. Just kidding. I'm not a girl's girl, because I think if I'm a girl's girl, then I'm not a girl's girl. But I'm going to go with my gut and think that Ryan Reynolds had a huge part to do with all of this. I want to say Ryan Reynolds maybe was the catalyst of all of this turning sour. That's my gut. Cindy, I thought it was 11 p.m., but it's not. It says it's May 11th, 2023 at 2:47:03. And it's at night because they're saying goodnight. I think in my gut, I feel real strong that there was a little bit of a jealousy issue. And if there was a look, at this point, I just tell you guys my hot takes. If there was a moment where she was found out, right? Just say, look, these are just my opinions, right? Just imagine that your husband is Ryan Reynolds and he's a jealous guy. Because we've heard this, right? We've heard this about him. This is not the first time we've heard this about him. There's rumors of him like yelling at the guys at Wrexham, put your effing shirt on when my wife is around. Like, this has been going on. There's a lot of rumors about this. If your husband catches text messages like that, and you're having this really cool, great conversations and relationship with your co-star, Justin Baldoni, where you're deliriously laughing late into the night, according to Justin Baldoni, doing these rewrites and having this great rapport. And all of a sudden, he sees these text messages. And he's like, what the fuck is this, Blake? And you're Blake Lively. Just putting it out there. Do you say, Ryan, I have to tell you something. He was harassing me. Is there a world where she said, I didn't want to tell you this because I didn't want to start drama, but I've been really uncomfortable and I've been really nice to him because I'm scared of him because he's harassing me? Did I just like open a can of worms by saying that? Do you think that to get herself out of getting in trouble for flirting with him, she like changed the narrative to say that he was like putting her in an uncomfortable position? Is there a world? I'm just putting it out there. There's like many ways that this can go. I don't know. In my opinion, I find it incredibly, incredibly hard to believe that Ryan Reynolds was not a huge part of all of this going down. What I don't think is that they went through this motion and started the complaint and went through this entire process and thought it was going to go this far. There is no way in hell Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively thought he was going to sue back this hard because they had the text. They saw it all. How did they not think he was going to prove this all? I don't think they had any idea he was going to fight back. I think they thought he was going to just like quiver away and run away. Because how could he fight back saying like, no, you're wrong. I never touched you, because he's a feminist, right? I think they completely like underestimated him. Just my thoughts. Okay. Let's move on. Once the main theater was deemed clear of Lively and her guests, Baldoni and his group were ushered into a separate theater to view the film. At the conclusion of the screening, they were again quickly escorted out of the building by security to avoid even a chance of interaction with Lively or her guests. The Wayfarer after party, held separately from the celebrity event and attended by crew, family, and other Wayfarer friends, was a dry gathering, in part to acknowledge the known negative relationship between alcohol and domestic violence. It was attended by the entire Wayfarer team from LA. The tone of the Wayfarer after party were aligned with Baldoni's vision for the film, focusing on celebration and gratitude despite being humiliated. In the meantime, Baldoni was sidelined as Lively and Sony pressed forward with their promotional strategy. By contrast, Baldoni's marketing plan, outlined in their initial proposal to Sony years prior, shared with Lively and communicated numerous times to both Sony and Lively, centered on a partnership with the organization No More. And this is important because this is where this one girl on TikTok has come in. I wonder if she's actually in this lawsuit. I actually don't know if she's been in this lawsuit, but there was this one girl that was invited to the premiere because her mom's friend worked in the like the party planners for this. And she went to the premiere and she was part of this event where he was speaking about the organization No More. And she was there, and she was wondering, like, why is Blake Lively laughing this entire time? I was so moved by Justin Baldoni. I believe her username is The Thick Jewish, and she's all over TikTok. And she was, remember, she was saying, if you've seen her, she was saying, I was so moved by Justin Baldoni talking about the message of this movie. Well, every time I saw Blake, she was just laughing, and she was just talking about the flowers and everything. And then it says, in the end, empowered by her celebrity firepower and her powerful allies, Lively did exactly what she set out to do. She took someone else's movie for her own. Yes, this is her username if you want to see her. Thick Jewish girl. I appreciate that, MC. I appreciate it. But why would Lively even seek to seize power over her film? Why would she insist on taking additional work for no additional pay or credit? On information and belief, Lively may have been motivated by a number of factors. She may have wanted to seize control over the film so she could take over the production of the sequel. It starts with us. This motivation also explains why the cast, who may have hoped and been promised a role in subsequent productions, would choose to side with the powerful couple who themselves may genuinely believe they could destroy Baldoni and Wayfarer and force them to cede or even sell the rights to the sequel. Or she may have been driven to match her star husband, Reynolds, who is widely reported to have insisted on taking so much control over Deadpool 2 that the director, Tim Miller, has left the production. This is actually something that someone mentioned yesterday on my YouTube in the comments. And I've talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago before the fires. I talked about it. In Deadpool 1, there's an article about this. They quote a Men's Health, but I saw a TikTok about this and I didn't know this. Deadpool 1 was so freaking good. I just saw this a couple months ago. And then Deadpool 2 was just not as good. I never saw Deadpool 3. But Deadpool 1 was so good. And then you realize that Deadpool 2 is directed by someone else. And the reason why is because Tim Miller left after Deadpool 1 because Ryan Reynolds took over and literally insisted on it so that the director was like, F this, I'm out of here. So this is behavior that has been repeated. Following his lead and evidenced by many statements by Lively that he is involved in every project she works on and vice versa, Lively and Reynolds, accustomed to getting their way, perhaps felt entitled. Regardless of why she insisted on seizing control of the film, that is precisely what she did. There can be no justification for her Machiavellian and civilly extortionate tactics deployed to grab grab complete control over the film. Lively also sought ultimate control over the film in the hope of boosting her own brand and business ventures. In the end, though, Lively's own words and promotional strategy led to an avalanche of negative press. So this is where the press went off the chain against Blake Lively. And this is where things really went sour for Blake. Let's take a second. 935 people here live. I need to hydrate. Have you subscribed to Daily Dose of Donna? Have to remind you guys we're at an hour and 22 minutes on a freaking Saturday. Brian says, I'm on my way to Sherman Oaks for a haircut. That's where I live. You want to stop by? Wouldn't that be funny if Brian was listening in the car on his way to Sherman Oaks for a haircut and then just showed up in the live? Want to bring me a coffee? I could use it. Dana Maria says, I'm overdosing, hopefully in a positive way, overdosing with Daily Dose of Donna. That's what you mean. All right, let's move on. Let's keep going on. Lively's power grab. We got this, you guys. We can do hard things. We can do this together. Lively's power grab and catastrophic miscalculation collapse starting at least July 10th, 2024. Lively's social media posts promoting the film maintained a lighthearted, frothy attitude depicting Lively in glamorous and floral-inspired couture, highlighting high-end brands like Chanel and Christian Louboutin. Yes, we all remember this. Yes. Beautiful, gorgeous, pretty flowers, pretty. Now, I'm going to be honest. I never, ever was a huge Blake Lively fan, even before. And just to give you guys a little insight of my personal knowing of Blake Lively, I'm a former casting director. I've worked with her brother, Eric. I've hired him on a show for Jerry Bruckheimer before. Lovely guy, actually, believe it or not. He was a really great guy. I also have worked with her sister, Lori Lively, a big acting coach, a child's acting coach. Also had great experiences with her. I was speaking to her talent agents who have known her. One in particular that said, I've known her since she was 13 years old. And let me just tell you, this girl is one of the most entitled, horrendous people I've ever known. And I said, wow. And I said, really? And she goes, and the mom? I said, the mom? And I said, I've talked to the mom before, because the mom is Elaine Lively and she's a talent manager. I don't even know if she still works. And I said, the mom, what about? And she said, I said, nuts, huh? And she said, nuts is nice. Nuts is nice, if you know what I mean. Okay. Hold on one second. I have to let my dog out. Okay. So then it says, Lively also sprinkled in cross promotions with her alcohol brand, Betty Booze. This was a massive error in judgment. Social media commenters quickly pointed out that this tie-in was in particularly poor taste, given that the World Health Organization estimates that 55% of domestic violence incidents are linked to alcohol. I mean, seriously, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? Yeah, I mean, pretty fun, cute, as if she's in the Barbie movie. It really was really strange. Tellingly, Wayfarer spotted the issues and called for a course correction long before Lively apparently realized the magnitude of her miscalculation. Wayfarer's CEO, Heath, responded to the organic online criticism by noting that many people are pointing out that domestic violence is being glossed over and that Justin is essentially the only one appreciating the subject matter, whilst, I love that word, others may not be giving it the proper respect it deserves. As you know, this has always been a concern of ours. And this is his email. He's saying we're opening with great numbers, and that's a testament to the movie itself and also the way you've positioned it, no doubt. And we should listen to the responses and really embrace what we are hearing. It won't hurt the movie by being more deliberate in embracing the DV aspect. People need to know that we too recognize the gravity and sensitivities to this subject. Wayfair's vice president of marketing and communications shared a post exemplifying the issue, which included the tagline saying, "Grab your friends, wear your florals." That soon became viral for all the wrong reasons. Okay. This was her, I'm just going to say it's stupid post that It Ends With Us movie shared on their, and Sony Pictures also co-signed, which was like, Blake Lively. Do you guys remember this one, right? Ends With Us Instagram. Let's see if I can find it really fast. I'd be surprised if they still have, they still have their, share this tab instead. Let's find, grab your florals. Let's see if we can find it easily. Yeah, here it is. You guys ready?
Blake Lively here. Colleen Hoover. And It Ends With Us is in theaters now. So grab your friends, wear your florals, and head out to see it.
I want to see you again.
Oh, nice.
Okay, grab your friends, wear your florals, and head out to see it. Did you grab your friends and head your florals? Or grab your friends and head your Did you grab your friends and wear your florals? I wonder if you did. Okay. All right, where am I? Let's go back to this. Oh, I thought I was still on Instagram, but I wasn't. I was back on that. Come and see this fun movie about when your husband has an insanely bad temper and pushes you downstairs. Okay. Heath and others at Wayfair advised listening and responding to the wave of online criticism that had met the bubbly, sunny messaging that Lively herself embraced so wholeheartedly. Though Lively now claims that Heath and Baldoni and others at Wayfair sabotaged her by planting astroturfed media criticisms, it seems as if she had listened to and respect. It seems that if she had listened to and respected their perspective and insights, rather than seizing the helm and driving the ship aground, everything would still be coming up roses for her. More importantly, had she allowed Baldoni to take his rightful place side by side with her in the promotion of the film, he would have assuredly kept domestic violence in the spotlight during all promotions, which would assuredly had prevented her from hurting her own image. Lively's reputational backlash was entirely her own doing. Jamie says, to be clear, this is on August 11th to Jennifer Abel. This is from Jamie to Sony and to Justin's PR team. To be clear, we are not saying it's been inappropriately marketed in any way. In fact, you have all been brilliant. The post is only pointing to the one who have spoken about the marketing. And while I am not dissuaded by their commentary, it's good to take some learnings from it. But once the backlash started on social media, it rapidly spread to mainstream media. And this is when it was in BuzzFeed. This is when it was on Daily Mail. This is when it was, again, Daily Mail, Daily Beast, Vox.com, The Cut, Glamour Magazine, NBC, Guardian, The Cut again. So clearly now it's all over the press. Indeed, while Baldoni sought to focus on the film's central premise, Lively incensed audiences with seemingly flippant and thoughtless remarks, encouraging viewers to grab your friends and wear your florals. Embarrassed and enraged by the self-induced backlash, Lively now seeks to vilify Baldoni in a dubious attempt to resuscitate her public image. Wah wah, not working. Lively seeks to push the blame onto plaintiffs. Upon information and belief, Lively ordered her team to begin a campaign to frame herself as a martyr and pin the blame on plaintiffs. Behind the scenes, Lively's publicist, Leslie Sloane, remember, she was the publicist of our favorite, Harvey Weinstein, the best of the best, devised and executed a smear campaign of her own against Baldoni. Known for her tendency to leak sensitive stories to provoke public controversy, she reneged on an agreement with Melissa Nathan by continuing to disseminate false and defamatory stories about Baldoni and Wayfarer. So here's an example. At 10:11 a.m. on August 8th, Melissa Nathan, that was the crisis PR person that Justin Baldoni hired, and Leslie Sloane, that's Blake Lively's PR person, reached an agreement whereby neither would communicate directly with the reporter prior to informing the other. So both publicists on both sides connected and said, I am not doing one thing without speaking to you. Me either. And here's a text message to prove it. Leslie says, Melissa, happy to. I land in 2 hours. Thank you. Have a safe flight. Just also, I am not doing one thing without speaking to you. I'm not answering one email, And Leslie says, me either. Just 9 minutes later, Leslie Sloane engages with a reporter at Daily Mail. The reporter asks to speak with Sloane regarding problems on the set involving Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, and the fallout over that with Blake being labeled difficult and a power struggle existing. Leslie Sloane, without going to Melissa Nathan, promptly responded, that is 1,000% untrue. Your info is totally off. It's evident that Sloane never intended to honor her agreement with Nathan. Instead, she exploited the arrangement to gain a strategic advantage in the media. And this is the text message from the Daily Mail reporter. This is exactly, there's a timestamp. So it's 9 minutes after she went to the publicist saying, I promise you I won't talk to anyone. She immediately goes to the Daily Mail reporter. In fact, Sloane actively continues her discussions with the Daily Mail reporter, continuing to cast Baldoni in a negative light. She attempts to portray Baldoni as the antagonist, saying the whole cast doesn't like Justin, nothing to do with Blake. She doubles down, saying, I'm telling you, she's a liar. They are panicking as the whole cast hates him. Sloane also threatens the reporter, saying, the entire cast I will have go on the record. This needs to hold. This is literally on record. The Daily Mail reporter has released the text messages. Okay. And it's saying, look, Daily Mail reporter is saying that Stephanie Jones is going to the Daily Mail reporter saying things, and Leslie Jones is saying, I'm telling you, she's a liar. They are panicking. The whole cast hates him. This will not look good for your site. The entire cast I will have go on record. The Daily Mail reporter is saying, can you give me anything at all on what the issue is? Then if it's not her and it's him? She goes, no, I'm on a plane. This needs to hold. The Daily Mail reporter, sounds good. I like to clear this shit up. 7:59 a.m., Melissa Nathan, consistent with the pair's agreement, sends a text message to Sloane containing an email she receives from a Daily Mail reporter. This is the same reporter with who Leslie Sloane just spoke to. And Melissa Nathan confirms that she played no part in the story and tells Sloane, I'm going to have to speak with him, but I'm going to tell him nothing. Happy to chat with you beforehand if you prefer. Leslie Sloane admits the fact that she had just spoken with her reporter before and says, let me know how it goes. Basically, Melissa Nathan, for those of you guys that don't know what I'm saying or are having a hard time following, both the publicists connect and they say, so Lively's publicist and Baldoni's publicist say, we are on the same team here. We're going to work together. We are not talking to any reporters without talking to each other. 9 minutes later, Blake Lively's publicist, Leslie Sloane, breaks that. She speaks to Daily Mail and completely throws Justin under the bus. 24 hours later, Daily Mail connects to Baldoni's publicist. And she says, hold, goes to Leslie Sloane, who's Blake Lively's publicist, and says, what should we do? She continues going with the agreement. She doesn't talk to the reporter. She goes to Leslie Sloane and says, what should we do? And Leslie Sloane acts like she's never talked to the reporter. Let me know what you think. So Leslie Sloane is clearly a liar. She's playing both sides. Bullshit. Joe says, who is this reporter? You know, Jock and I are actually fine now. Jock Peterson and I are buddies. We've made up. We're actually friendly now. But I don't believe this is Jock. But now I'm curious. But I think it's someone that I don't think this is Jock. That would be crazy. Now I need to know if it is. Okay, let's keep going. So then the article comes out from Daily Mail, and it says, truth behind why Blake Lively is feuding with Justin Baldoni revealed. Truth behind why Blake Lively is feuding with Justin Baldoni revealed. That does not. Truth behind why Blake. Okay. And Leslie Sloane sends it to Melissa Nathan. I'm sorry. Melissa Nathan sends it to Leslie Sloane and says, probably what the hell? Despite their agreement, Melissa Nathan, remember, Baldoni's publicist, was completely unaware that Leslie Sloane had provided the reporter with this information that significantly altered the narrative of the published story. Originally, the story was going to be about Blake being difficult, but then he spoke to Leslie Sloane and the story changed to Justin being difficult. So Sloane breached her agreement with Nathan and also planted false information about Justin Baldoni to distract from Blake Lively's numerous missteps and throw Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer on the defensive. How eye-opening is all of this? Following the release of Blake Lively's complaint on December 20th, the same Daily Mail reporter informed Melissa Nathan, so this is just in the last few weeks, the same Daily Mail reporter informed Melissa Nathan that Leslie Sloane had lied to portray Baldoni as the foe. Yet still, Leslie Sloane escalated the false narrative by telling the reporter that Blake was sexually assaulted, an unsubstantiated accusation that not even Lively had gone so far as to claim, designed to destroy Baldoni and his reputation. According to Leslie Sloane, she sends this to the Daily Mail reporter. She said the whole cast hates Justin. She wrote hits, but I think she meant hates Justin. This has nothing to do with Blake. And now she's saying that Blake was sexually assaulted. Why wouldn't she say anything about that then? She knows she is full of shit. I'm sorry, this is from the Daily Mail reporter to Melissa Nathan. She knows she is full of shit. She told me that the whole issue was that everybody hates Justin, nothing about Blake and Justin. She said it had nothing to do with Blake. Bullshit. Sloane ruthlessly took advantage of Nathan's good faith. As a result, Nathan was forced to combat the negative press that was both planted and propagated by Sloane. Ultimately, the actual smear campaign was orchestrated by Sloane at Lively's direction. This is sick. Taking a sip. Have you subscribed? All right. Enter Stephanie Jones. I wish I had the sound effects. Dun, dun, dun. Wayfarer, enter Stephanie Jones. Wayfarer and Baldoni's embattled former publicist and a critical player in Lively's scorched earth campaign against Baldoni, Wayfarer, and their teams. Jones is the founder and CEO of JonesWorks, a New York-based public relations firm that Wayfarer engaged in May 2020 and that later handled publicity for Baldoni personally. For almost 4 years, JonesWorks' Baldoni Wayfarer account was managed by Jen Abel, Jones' right hand who ran the JonesWorks Los Angeles office. Abel developed a close and trusting relationship with Baldoni, Heath, and the rest of the Wayfarer team, particularly as their strategic communications needs became ever more complex due to defendants' machinations. She had a Southern twang. They were friendly. Jones had a successful career. She represented at various times The Rock, Jeff Bezos, Lauren Sanchez, Venus Williams, Tom Brady, Chris Hemsworth. Okay. Until recently, however, Jones had kept her worst excesses hidden from public view. That changed around May 2024 when Puck reported that Sanchez and Johnson had dropped Jones as their publicist. While these were amongst the most prominent and publicly reported departures, a cascade of JonesWorks clients began to cut ties with Jones, especially after word had spread that Business Insider was contacting Jones' former and current clients and employees concerning a forthcoming article about her sordid behavior. On May 8th, 2024, a website called Stephanie Jones Leaks went live, along with an account, a Facebook page, a Reddit account, and Pinterest page. I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like Stephanie Jones, if you look her up, she has a horrible reputation online. Like this is the article that let me show it to you. Oh, they're not going to let me see it because it's a Business Insider, but I mean, this is the Instagram page of it. This is like the Business Insider Instagram. It's called Who's Afraid of Stephanie Jones? How Tom Brady's publicist became one of the most polarizing names in celebrity PR. This was on August 15, 2024. So you can only imagine, like, this is a tough woman, okay? She's not an easy woman at all. So these revelations called a firestorm, a ton of negative publicity. There's a Business Insider piece that shed more light on the real Jones. She was paranoid, erratic, and cruel in recent years. This shed light on the toxic workplace. I don't think there was a day in the office that someone wasn't crying. She also pried into her employees' private lives without invitation. When employees called in sick, she would FaceTime them to confirm they were actually sick. In at least one instance, an employee who had taken a personal day to attend a funeral received a FaceTime call from Jones during the ceremony. Jones was apparently suspicious of his whereabouts. What the F? She sounds like Devil Wears Prada on crack. Unsurprisingly, turnover rates at Jones' work were extraordinary. These departures included not only junior employees who often left after less than a year, but senior executives. So people were starting to really turn on her. Lots of questions about who created the story in Business Insider. I have no idea, but clearly she was story by Katie Warren. And I mean, we'd have to do some research. I'm not going to get into that right now, but clearly a lot of people started turning on her. April 2023, Dwayne Johnson dropped her because of clashes. Lots of people were dropping her. Tequila, his tequila brand, Bezos. So Jeff Bezos, Lauren Sanchez, Lainey Wilson, Chris Hemsworth, everyone was dropping her. So she was losing all of her business. And Jennifer Abel remained loyal to her through all of this. But because of her anger and her paranoia, she started becoming very hostile towards Jennifer Abel, displaying paranoia and about her close relationships with clients and partners, going out of her way to reprimand, demean, and embarrass her in front of her junior employees. Over time, Jen Abel became convinced that Jones was in a downward spiral and harbored serious concerns about Jones' mental health. Jones had become increasingly erratic, calling and FaceTiming Abel at all hours of the night in a frenzied space. In a frenzied state, overtly pitting employees against each other and attempting to catch them in perceived acts of disloyalty. Jones had always been volatile, but her behavior had become downright deranged. Often Abel, this is crazy. You guys, this is a movie. This is insane. I would love to see a movie based or a documentary on the behind the scenes of the PR offices, right? This is so crazy to me. Often, Abel was on the receiving end of her outbursts. For instance, Jones informed Abel's charges that she had learned through psychic readings that Abel was an alcoholic and a gambling addict. Neither has any basis in fact. While Jones presumably intended to undermine Abel's credibility, she had actually undermined her own and raised significant concern amongst the Jones work staff about her mental stability. Jones also announced, per her psychic, that Abel would soon be pregnant with twins, humiliating and infuriating Abel, who Jones knew had struggled with fertility issues. So obviously there was like some weird shit between Jennifer Abel. This was Baldoni's publicist at Jones Works, so like his point person, between her and her boss, Stephanie Jones. There was a lot of drama. On July 10th, Abel said, "I'm out of here. I'm leaving. I'm starting my own business." There was a 6-week transition period, and she left on August 23rd, 2024, right after the movie came out. Predictably, Stephanie Jones took the news poorly. Consistent with her increasingly erratic behavior, Jones swung from extreme to extreme, one minute desperately attempting to convince her to stay, then next berating her and cutting her out. Oh my gosh, how are we going to be able to read these text messages? Stephanie says, "You just quit on a Zoom with your employee, Jen, then blasted our entire senior team your resignation. Grow up." And Jen says, "I've been nothing but a good partner and helped grow LA from 4 people to 13, and I'm proud of that. I don't want this to be hostile." And Stephanie says, "I'm not the one creating hostility or drama. You haven't continued to do so. No one senior behaves like this. It's reactionary, dramatic, and immature, sad. And I've been equally good to you. No one else would do this for you. You'll see. Your behavior is appalling. You'll see." And Jen says, "And I thank you for everything you have done and the many opportunities." And then Stephanie's husband, Jason, texts Jen's fiance after the resignation. He says, "Go Niners." And they just were texting friendly. So there was clearly like a friendship. While Abel was resolute about leaving, she had every intention of doing so amicably, a sentiment she repeatedly conveyed to Jones. Jennifer Abel says, "Hi, Steph. First of all, I wanted to say," okay, I'm not going to read this entire thing. They're sending like nice emails. On Friday, July 26th, Jennifer sends a very nice email to Stephanie Jones with love. "Thank you for understanding." However, as Abel's end date drew closer, Jones grew more combative. With several weeks left in her tenure and innumerable client matters to handle, Abel found that she had been removed from client email distribution lists and left in the dark. It was clear to Abel that Jones was trying to embarrass Abel and tarnish her professional reputation in advance of her departure. And this is the chief of staff at Jones Work basically sending, that we're cutting you off. Basically, we're cutting you off. We're taking you off the list. You're not going to have access to certain things. In her final week, Abel contacted the chief and staff concerning the release of her phone number. And they're going back and forth about just some inner stuff. On August 21st, 2 days before her last day, she pulled up to the Jones work office. She was confronted by a security guard, a lawyer. She was ushered into the conference room. The security guard was outside of the doors. She was not she was blocked by the exit. The attorney pointed to the documents to review and sign them. The attorney told her that Jones Works believed she had proprietary information on her personal laptop and would likely have grounds to sue if Abel did not allow them access. Completely caught off guard by this hostile and intimidating display, Abel fell into a state of shock. She had never experienced anything like this, did not know what to do, fearful that she would burst into tears and humiliate herself, which is what she knew Jones wanted. Abel disassociated, knowing she had not done anything wrong, desperate to get out of there. She signed the documents without digesting their contents. Big mistake, because this is why this is all happening. She basically signed away her access to, she signed away ownership of all her personal text messages, probably. So at this point, Abel passed over her personal laptop. The attorney presented Abel with a list of 10 documents saying that she stole it, et cetera, et cetera. She left her phone. She was shell-shocked, desperate to get out of there. She left everything. Okay. She then went to a Verizon store. I mean, so on and so forth. By contrast, Jones now had unrestricted access to everything stored on Abel's phone, her text messages, emails, personal photos. Jones could read her communications with her fiance, parents, friends, everyone. Jones was acting purely out of spite. And Jen is saying this to Jones' work chief of staff. This is Jen Abel, my new cell. I'm writing you both as a personal plea. This is the same number I've had since high school. This isn't a work-related thing. This is my personal number that is linked to all my bills, my medical, Chris' dad's living facility, all my personal emails, everything. Gordon, you told me numerous times that you were going to give me this phone number. I was there yesterday. You know, they said you never even started the process. I've been nothing but good to you both. This is mean and egregious. I'm begging you to please release it before tomorrow. Please, please, you have no use for a 904 number that has been my personal number. Please, it takes one phone call, please. This is so crazy. It took Abel over a month to regain control over all her accounts. Meanwhile, she learned Jones had been sharing her private text messages with the entire office, mocking and disparaging her. Having torched Abel's privacy and dignity, Jones started boasting that Abel's business was next. In or around early September 2024, Jones warned a departing employee not to work for Abel because her business won't be around much longer. So this is from Jen sending to a couple other people saying, just know that whatever she's telling you guys about me or what I've done, it's not true. I've enjoyed working you both and wish you nothing but the best. And Jones' work employee says, unfortunately, your company phone says otherwise. And she says, about you guys, I've always been upfront with feedback and have held your hands to set you up for success the entire time with Justin Baldoni. I've given criticism and have told you both upfront where Justin has been unhappy, especially you. This hurts my feelings, but at least my lawyer will be happy to know that personal texts are being shared with employees. And it's unfortunate that you have drank the Kool-Aid. I'll still be here when you guys wake up, sending nothing but love. So clearly everyone is sending, now Stephanie Jones is completely opening up a can of worms. I mean, this is wild. I had no idea I was even going this far. This is crazy. Are we all still here? Oh my God, 920 still people. Have you subscribed? Hi, everyone. Have you subscribed? Love you. We're getting through this, okay? By hell or high water, we're getting through this lawsuit today. You can always come back later if you want, but we're getting through this today. Now I'm in. It's like watching Titanic. This is like watching Wicked. We're sitting through this. Jacqueline, you keep talking about the fact that Nathan and Abel planted the Business Insider story, and there's no proof to that, because if Stephanie is saying that, I don't believe Stephanie. Sorry. Show me proof. And also, by the way, who cares if they did or not? Stephanie Jones is a horrible person. Okay. Stephanie Jones falls out with Wayfair and Baldoni. By then, Jones had an axe to grind with Wayfair. For the entirety of Wayfair's 4-year engagement with Jones Works, Abel was the point person on the account. Jones was more concerned with prestige clients like Tom Brady and devoted little to Wayfair or Baldoni, but Jones Works was in utter turmoil by July 2024, bleeding clients, and they had learned that Business Insider was already working on an unflattering story about her set to be published sometime in August. Her reputation was already severely damaged by the Stephanie Jones Leaks website and all the social media accounts, and was desperate to keep the remaining clients. Given Abel's close relationship with Wayfair and Baldoni, Jones was undoubtedly concerned that they were going to also leave Jones' works alongside her, and she wanted to make sure that that did not happen. At the time, Wayfair and Baldoni were in the midst of a massive PR crisis as news stories began to trickle out concerning tension between Lively and Baldoni just as the film was about to premiere. Jones started participating in meeting calls and written correspondence to reassert her authority over the account and convey her engagement to Wayfair. So you guys get it. Like, she was basically forgetting that they even existed. But now all of a sudden, when she felt like she was losing control and losing clients and didn't really have anything left, and she thought that Jennifer Abel was going to leave and take Justin Baldoni, all of a sudden now she was like, I care. I care about you, Justin Baldoni, who I didn't even know existed 5 seconds ago. Abel recommended that Wayfair engage Melissa Nathan. This is Jen Abel's idea to bring on that Melissa Nathan to assist in navigating these choppy waters. The need for crisis PR expertise was particularly acute due to Lively's demand that Baldoni not be permitted to attend the premiere. In addition, Abel learned from Nathan that per her media contacts, a negative story was being shopped around to multiple outlets, positioning Baldoni's religion as a cult and accusing Baldoni of having fat-shamed Lively. This is Jen Abel talking to Melissa Nathan. Jen Abel says, yes, exactly. And maybe that's how you approach the Baha'i thing, that we had no idea of this approach and we can't be proactive as we have no idea what she will come out with. Melissa says, done. Jen is talking about Pepto-Bismol. They're talking about their stomachs. Melissa says, he also cannot come across as a victim here. We're walking a very fine line. Jen says, exactly. He can't look guilty either by shying away from this stuff. But when Stephanie Jones learned that Wayfair was considering retaining Nathan, she was furious. Jones viewed Nathan as a competitor and conveyed to Abel that her recommendation to Wayfair was a betrayal of trust. Jones then sought to derail the plan, bad-mouthing Nathan and disclosing client confidences from past collaborations between Jones' work and Nathan. So Stephanie Jones is sending a text to Jen Abel here saying, this is kind of a mess. Melissa Nathan lies and cleans up. Lies, dirty work. I also don't want Blake's team to align you with people like this Melissa works with. These people, none of them know how to write. And this is at Saturday at 2 a.m. Like, PR people are wild. They don't have like schedules and they don't know how to write. While Heath acknowledged Jones' position, he told her Wayfair would make its own decision. So Jones inserted herself into the mix, seeking to box out Nathan and Abel. The problem was that Jones had chosen not to be privy to Wayfair's communication strategy. Hold on. Oh, yeah. So basically, Stephanie Jones decided to kind of like butt her way in. But at this point, she also was taking a lengthy vacation in Europe. So maybe she was out of town. That's why it was 2 a.m. She was out of town. She was in Europe during all of this time. And she was not really like involved. So it says even from afar, her efforts were ham-fisted, unwelcome, and sporadic, given her distance from Wayfair's day-to-day business. As Jones tries to stir up drama and undermine Abel's authority, Wayfair and Baldoni were focused solely on managing the crisis in front of them. At the time, Lively and Baldoni's teams had negotiated an uneasy truce in which neither side would participate in negative coverage of the other. Lively's team, as we know, has already broken the truce, but Wayfair didn't know that then. As far as they were concerned, it felt like everyone was agreeing to keep the peace. But on August 8th, 2024, Jones, in another desperate attempt to reinsert herself, contacted a Daily Mail reporter about a story they had published about Baldoni and Lively. She did so in direct violation of Jen Abel's instructions not to talk to the press. But instead, she bragged to Wayfair about trading calls with the Daily Mail in an effort to appear engaged on the account. She says, from Stephanie to Wayfair Studios, left word for blank. She's been very nice in the past, so we'll get this fixed. The reporter says, hi, I'm a reporter for Daily Mail. I'm working on a thing, Stephanie says, blank has been very nice and fixed things for us in the past. I can give her a call This is a nothing burger. And this pissed everyone off because Stephanie Jones was not involved and all of a sudden started to get involved when she completely was not being asked to. And it says it was a blatant disregard of Wayfair's strategy. And it's sparked a chain of unfortunate developments. At this point, Leslie Sloane and Sony had learned that someone from Baldoni's team was communicating negatively to media. So Stephanie Jones was speaking to media. Wayfair was now getting in trouble because it looked like they were starting to speak badly about Blake to media. And Sony started to get mad. Everyone started to hear about, oh my God, they're speaking badly about Blake to the media. Because Stephanie Jones, we've all met people like this, right? That like they're not listening, they're just doing, they're like their impulse. This is nuts. I love it. I love it. Oh my God. With her reckless and unauthorized activities, Jones had made that scenario much more likely. In response, Wayfair instructed Jones to cease all activities on behalf of Wayfair and Baldoni for the time being and let Abel and another Los Angeles-based Jones work employee, Matthew Mitchell, handle the crisis alongside Nathan. Like Stephanie Jones was in Europe, probably like God knows how many Prosecco's in, thinking that she was, doing the right thing because she was scared that she was going to lose her job and totally messing everything up. She's the source of the problem. At this time, Nathan started hearing from other journalists that Leslie Sloane was now also planting negative stories about Baldoni. So now it's all coming out. I was under the impression that Baldoni's camp had broken the truce. So now everyone is like, wait, everyone is lying. You're saying bad things about Blake Lively. You're saying bad things about Justin Baldoni. So now Justin, this is that text message that we saw where Justin is saying, anxious Sony executives began reaching out to Wayfair seeking clarity. This is a text from Justin saying, Wayfair is a big studio now, propelled into a tier upwards. Protecting you and the brand is something you need to do. You want to see a headline? And this is something about Leslie Sloane and Harvey Weinstein. People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. I don't know who he's writing this to. But she said, do you believe Leslie? Can you spin the crisis PR thing so it's actually factual? There have been lies put out up against powerful people just protecting myself. So do we say Blake and Ryan hire Harvey Weinstein's publicist? And then Justin writes to everyone saying, hey, this is all his PR people. Hey, tag team, I've been seeing some IG comments on random posts defending me by people who are private with no followers and they feel like bots. Can you please confirm that we are not doing any of that? I really don't want bots defending me as it feeds into their potential narrative. Remember how Blake Lively is under this like idea that bots were being hired by Justin Baldoni and like astroturfing? Justin is literally saying, please confirm that we don't have bots out there. And they are responding saying, I can fully confirm we do not have bots. This is not also what we do. Bots look fake to anyone. The other team is doing something very specific in terms of what they do. I know Jamie and Jed connected on this. Bots and fan accounts also run pretty organically by now. We don't do bots. Justin says, okay, please monitor. Things I'm more worried about is that we are planning these stories, which is not true, obviously. And then Jen says, chiming in here, the people saying that there are bots and this is a PR play on your side is a minority voice compared to the thousands and thousands who are calling it what it is and reacting to Blake's own actions and interviews. We never want the action in the minority to dictate what we do. Basically, they're saying Blake's own interviews are beating her up online. Like, we're not doing shit. This is happening on our own. Melissa says, good morning. Sharing with you a perfect example of why we don't use bots. I wouldn't even worry to think we've hired a team. They've hired a team as nothing to find. They've hired an awful team, which I've sent to our guy to track and pull so we have evidence of it. This below should answer everyone's question on what a bot team should look like. I don't even know what this is. Justin says, how can we say somehow that we are not doing any of this? It looks like we're trying to take her down. Okay. It looks like we are trying to take her down. Melissa says it doesn't. They are doing all of this themselves. It's really obvious. This is bots. And And then look at this. This is literally, oh my God, I cannot believe that they bring up a comment here is about a Zionist. Like, that is crazy that got in here as a personal Jew. Okay. You guys, we're almost there. We're getting there. We're getting there. Are we all here? 925 people. I love you so much. Just like a group hug. It's still Saturday. Someone said that they took a nap and came back and we're still live. I can't believe we're all still here. Subscribe. We're getting there. The more we're doing this, like, I want to put Stephanie Jones and Blake Lively on a stage and be like, you. All right. Let's get into it. Yet Jones, I have to make it big again for you. Yet Jones panicked about being blamed, refused to be sidelined, insisted that she needed to contact Sony and Lively's PR teams to clarify that she had not planted any negative stories about Lively. Heath told her not to do that, to which Jones responded that she could do whatever she wants to clear her name. She sounds like a wild card, like beyond belief. I can't stand Stephanie Jones. Desperate to salvage her reputation with Lively and Sony, Jones emailed a number of key Sony executives working on the film to declare that she was in Europe with her husband, partner at William Morris, Jason Hodes. That's another thing. Stephanie Jones is married to a William Morris partner. I'll pull him up. There's no picture here. Hold on. Jason Hodes is a talent agent at William Morris. He is a sports guy, I want to say. Yeah, I can't remember specifically what he does. He represents Usain Bolt. He's like a big William Morris guy. It's an interesting connection, right? Interesting connection. I always found that kind of interesting. Okay. And placing all the blame on her team. In her attempt to save face, Jones ruptured her relationship with Wayfarer and Baldoni. Although Jones ultimately agreed to stand down, Wayfarer and Baldoni had lost all trust in her. Shockingly, at this point, like, who would trust her, right? After parachuting in for self-interested reasons, nearly blowing up the truce with Lively's team, and lashing out when told to stop. Jones became a magnet for drama when it was least needed. But Jones was not ready to throw in the towel. Ironically, given her later attempt to fabricate a smear campaign narrative, it was Jones, not Wayfarer, Baldoni, Abel, or Nathan, who started advocating for a more aggressive public relations strategy. Stephanie is texting, I sent you an email with what I think strategy should be, as Justin is not being represented in these stories. We have to fight for every story. I also attach my phone record. Tara, I swear with my hand to God, I have never leaked anything to any outlet, and I think you know this. I just want to help Justin and Wayfarer. On or about August 14th, 2024, Jones sent an email to Heath further elaborating on her recommended strategy. Flood the zone with positives, prepare alternative stories. So she's just like going to town, okay? It says, hi, both Mirror just emailed us about this TMZ report. I don't see any incoming inquiries from TMZ, but I contacted Harvey, I mean, she's going like crazy, right? Jamie Heath writes, hi, Stephanie, we're fully aware of this. We are handling. As a reminder to my previous instructions, please do not respond. Do not contact. Don't do anything as it pertains to Justin. We have the team. We are comfortable to handle. While you may have thoughts and ideas, I am reiterating to stand down. This is psycho. You guys, this is crazy. She doubled down on an email threatening that Wayfarer and Baldoni had an exclusive contract through May 2025. She goes, hi, Jamie. Justin, Wayfarer, you, Tara, and team are extremely important to us. I received your text a little over an hour ago, but I'm currently unable to make calls on my cell. I'm so sorry. Matthew Mitchell, going on and on. Your below email is inaccurate. As you know, I've been deeply involved. You asked me to stop communicating on behalf of Justin and only allow Jennifer, Matthew, and team to handle. I've been on set. I've had numerous calls weekly, etc. My commitment spans not only the past 8 years, but also the last 4 years. There has never been one person, but rather it's been a true team effort. How embarrassing for her. Like, guys, this is so embarrassing. The owner of the company, and they're saying, do not get involved. Like, you got to stop. This kind of reminds me of like the old grandma that's like, kind of like having memory loss. And you're like, it's okay. Like, we'll handle dinner. Just like sit. I'll give you a glass of wine. Just sit. And she keeps wanting to like get in the kitchen and help. And you're like, just sit. And then she keeps coming in and you're like, just sit down. This is embarrassing. Anyway, she continues to say, I've spoken to blank, whatever, you indicated that you only want them to work, but that's not going to happen. Like, we have an exclusive contract with you. You contacted a PR person, please know we're going to work with you. I'm working with you. As September drew nearer, Wayfair and Baldoni, with the assistance of Abel and Nathan, continued their tireless efforts to promote the film, put out fires, and see the project through the finish line. Stewing in jealousy towards Abel and resentment towards Wayfair and Baldoni, Jones clearly saw the writing on the wall. Knowing she would soon be terminated, Jones started taking steps transparently intended to make it harder to cut her loose. Those steps included sending email after unwelcome email to Heath and others, long after their relationship had irrevocably ruptured, to lay the groundwork to contest that she had been detached and non-responsive for years. This was especially galling as Jones had been in Europe and largely incommunicado, save for her disastrous efforts at self-preservation. For Wayfair and Baldoni, the decision was straightforward. As soon as Abel was out at Jones Works, Wayfarer was out too. This was not about Abel poaching Wayfarer. It was not about a premeditated plan. Abel was trusted, loyal, and committed. Wherever she went, Wayfarer and Baldoni would follow. This is obvious, you guys. They had a relationship with Jen Abel. They were not going to stay with Jones. Jones sounds like a loose cannon in every possible way. Like, it's obvious why everyone left. She sounds nuts. Okay, so rather than accepting the end of the relationship with professionalism, Jones started threatening to sue, demanding exorbitant payment for work not done, and protesting that she had done an amazing job. But Wayfarer and Baldoni had already made the decision to part ways with Jones Works, and their decision was final. For Jones, stewing in indignity and resentment, the loss of yet another client, to Abel no less, was a sting too great to bear, and so she chose to take revenge on all of them. I can't get over how juicy this lawsuit is. Like, for anyone that's reading this and saying like, oh, this is so lame or so boring, or like, how you could, I feel energized. We're 2 hours and 12 minutes into this live and I am excited. I'm not tired. It ends with me running a marathon. Remember that Jones had taken possession of Abel's personal phone, all her text messages, etc. She approaches Lively's team. Oh, this is where we go wrong. She approaches Lively's team with an appealing offer. This is what it is, you guys. This is what it is. She approaches Lively's team with an appealing offer. Ammunition to destroy Baldoni, Wayfarer, and Abel in one fell swoop. Wielding reams of Abel's private communications, which could readily be sliced and diced to construct a false narrative, Jones had quite the pitch for an embattled Lively and her team, knowing that Lively was convinced wrongly that Baldoni, and not her off-putting public appearances and cynical self-promotion, had been responsible for the rash of negative publicity directed towards her. Jones correctly assumed that she would find willing conspirators in the Lively camp. In turning over these materials to Lively, Jones knew full well that the blowback would also engulf Wayfarer and Baldoni, and that was the point. Revenge. Her plan worked like a charm, at least for a time. I fell for it. Between December 20th and December 31st, it worked on me. Working hand in glove with the New York Times, Lively concocted a fantastical narrative that laid the blame for her travails exactly where she believed it belonged, with others. The ramifications of the speech had been grave for Wayfarer, Baldoni, Abel, and Nathan, who became objects of this public scorn and derision overnight. Abel and Nathan, two private individuals and female small business owners, have had their lives turned upside down. Their careers and reputations have been destroyed. Their private information leaked, and their email inboxes and social media pages filled with a daily stream of death threats, abuse, and vile anti-Semitic remarks. Okay, anti-Semitic remarks. As a Jew myself, this hits. Obviously, as you guys know, being Jewish in this last year completely screwed my podcast, just being Jewish. So I feel for them because that has nothing to do with any of this. And it is used against you to be Jewish. So obviously that's going to like really upset me. The backlash against Wayfarer and Baldoni has been equally devastating, with Baldoni wrongly labeled as a sex pest, his accolades rescinded, and his future projects thrown into doubt. And Jones still has all of Abel's private photos and text messages, which Abel has every reason to believe will find their way online via Jones. Some already have. Oh, that's so sad. She lives in fear of what Jones has in store for her and what other client confidences Jones is willing to divulge in her fit of pique at Abel. All of this because Abel dared to leave Jones' works and start her own business. The results have been a calamity for everyone roped into Lively's and Jones' campaign of destruction. Wow. Wow. This is fucking crazy. Crazy. Like absolutely crazy. We're almost there, you guys. We're going to get there. We have less than 30 pages left. Lively and Reynolds now threaten the plaintiffs until they take the fall. On August 12th, 2024, Jamie Heath and Jen Abel have a call with two executives from their then talent agency. One admitted that the root of Blake Lively's problems was focusing on the promotion of the film, like the premiere dresses, the glamour, and the brands, while Baldoni had always maintained his public focus on domestic violence. The executive communicated the demand from Lively and Reynolds that Wayfarer, Heath, and Baldoni make a public apology that day. And if they failed to do so, the gloves would come off. Stunningly, the executive even told Heath and Abel that Lively and Reynolds objected when Baldoni spoke kindly of Lively in public, claiming that it misrepresented their relationship. So remember, Justin Baldoni was speaking so nicely of what's it called, of Blake Lively. Like he was always speaking so nicely about her and saying such nice things and saying such kind things. And apparently that was like not nice. That was like not a good thing, right? That was an awful thing. And okay. And they didn't like that because it misrepresented their relationship. Like I guess they wanted him to say mean things. The talent agency executive, I'm assuming this is William Morris, executive told Heath and Abel that Lively believed Wayfarer, Baldoni, and Heath were waging a shadow campaign against her. Abel quickly disabused the executives of the notion, conveying her belief that she and Sloane had reached kind of a truce, while Nathan had come on the team or taken a proactive role until they started getting press requests. Okay. The second executive admitted on the call that no one pushes back on Lively and Reynolds. The next day, on August 13th, Jen Abel and Jamie Heath had another call with talent agency executives. During this call, one exec told Heath that the agency had spoken to Blake and Ryan Reynolds by phone about the overwhelming tide of negative publicity that they had faced over the past days. Jamie Heath clarified that Wayfarer, Baldoni, and Heath had no connection to the publicity, but they did tell Heath that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds had demanded that Wayfarer put out a statement accepting blame for the problems during filming, with an express threat that they themselves would attack Wayfarer in the press if Wayfarer refused. Y'all, guys, I didn't know that. So the agents told Wayfarer that if you do not make a statement very quickly, because Blake was starting to get really bad press, if you do not make a statement really quickly that you are taking blame for any of the problems during filming, meaning Justin Baldoni is going to take blame for any problems, and that's why you guys were not taking pictures together, then we are going to put bad press about you. What the actual fuck is going on here? I am so angry for Justin and Wayfarer. How can you? This is psychotic. The talent agency executive who had this phone call needs to get deposed, right? Or whatever it's called. Deposed. Isn't that what it's called in court? Like they need to come on the stand. And there has to be, were these calls recorded? This is shocking. This is actually like, this person should be fired. Shocking. Okay. The executives dictated us. Okay. The executives told Heath and Abel that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively dictated a statement that they required Wayfarer to put out calling. It ends with us, a troubled production, and forcing Wayfarer to take accountability for the problems in the production. Wayfarer, Baldoni, and Heath would have to acknowledge and own their mistakes and own all negativity being aimed at Reynolds and Lively. Abel and Heath asked that the executives clarify what exactly Wayfarer, Baldoni, and Heath were being asked to take accountability for. They admitted that Lively and Reynolds were simply upset by how social media had turned against them. Stunningly, the executive admitted that Lively and Reynolds brought the backlash on themselves. This is, you guys, I was going to say you can't write the shit, but it's written. You can't write it, but it's here. But that they were beyond reasoning with. Whoever this executive that they spoke to, this agent, was saying, I know that Ryan and Blake brought this on themselves, but we can't reason with them. Literally, I have to write a note, make a TikTok. Hold on. Make a TikTok about page 149. This is insanity. He admitted that making constant threats was Lively and Reynolds' well-known modus operandi, and that their demands were not based on reality, but on finding someone to blame for their social media crisis besides themselves. Game, set, match point, you win. Justin Baldoni, case closed. Bye. See you later. Blake, Ryan, never. Hold on. Want to do something for all of you guys. In front of y'all. Something I should have done a long time ago. Guys, see my Instagram? Follow. Justin Baldoni, my friend, you got my follow. I feel bad. This is a sick, sick life we live in. I'm pissed. I'm pest, like Tamara Judge. I'm pest. I'm pest. This is on variety.com. If you guys want to read this, you can find it. Okay. Lively plays the final card in her hand. This is the final card. This is the New York Times article. You guys ready? This is when she false accusations of a smear campaign deployed in the New York Times. By the way, for anyone that's new here, or even if you're not new here, welcome to the show. Welcome to Daily Dose of Donna. Please subscribe here. Also, if you could do me a favor, send this episode, the audio episode or the YouTube, to any of your friends that don't know about this case or are questioning this case, wondering about it, or are very much team Blake and Ryan and think Justin Baldoni is in the wrong. I think if you really listen to the article and listen to the lawsuit and really read it, I think you're going to be very, very this is an eye open. I'm not reading things that are not in front of us. This is shocking. And I'm learning with you guys because I am here reading it for the first time. There's no way I was able to read this before this episode. Lively plays the final card in her hand. When plaintiffs refused to take the fall for Lively's disastrous promotional campaign, Lively was true to her word. Guys, the gloves came off. Months after the film's premiere on December 21st, 2024, a bombshell article dropped in the New York Times. This is authored in part by Megan Twohey, who gained prominence for her expose of Harvey Weinstein. Very interesting considering the Leslie Sloane connection. The article's headline promised a glimpse inside a Hollywood smear machine. We all read it, right? We can bury anyone inside a Hollywood smear machine. Crazy. This article purported to provide a detailed account of a calculated campaign to bring down Lively in retaliation for daring to speak out against sexual harassment on the set of It Ends With Us. The article heavily draws from the California Civil Rights Department, the CRD complaint that was filed by Lively the day before. The CRD complaint and the article are both purportedly based on thousands of pages of text messages and emails that Lively obtained through a subpoena. The article notes these and other documents were reviewed by the New York Times. The 4,000 plus words of the New York Times article dropped less than a day after Lively apparently filed her CRD complaint. The close coordination between Lively's team and the New York Times, likely over a matter of months before the CRD complaint was filed, is plain. The article refers to the 17-point letter of production conditions that Lively insisted upon. While the reasons for making many of those demands were mystifying to plaintiffs at the time, we went over this on Thursday, if you guys want to rewatch that part. It became clear that Lively had seeded her revenge more than a year before. By insisting on superfluous, I can never say that word, or already extant protections, Lively laid the foundation for her baseless claims of pervasive sexual harassment. When she buffaloed plaintiffs into agreeing, she sealed the perfect narrative poison pill, allowing her to later claim that plaintiffs' agreement to the 17-point letter was proof positive that sexual harassment was endemic on the film's set. But Lively had to explain away the self-inflicted mountain of bad press she had brought down herself. As discussed elsewhere herein, finally Jones' wrongfully obtained text could be deployed for maximum damage. Kai, you're so sweet. She says, Donna, you need to do small videos, the craziest bits. You do it justice and people like summaries. It's needed if he's right. I think he is. It's wild. You're so kind. I will. I'll break it down in smaller. I'll do little shorts after this. Thank you so much. I mean, at some point, I do have kids. My poor husband's like parenting on his own over there, but, you know, kid schmitz. Just kidding. I'll be with them. On Information and Belief, Lively and her team used cherry-picked text messages, as we know, and telling the New York Times a false and damning story about a PR sabotage operation deployed as revenge for sexual harassment complaints with the knowledge and intent that the newspaper would publish that false story. Lively and her co-conspirators committed the tort of defamation. For example, in the complaint, which on Information and Belief she provided to the New York Times long before filing it, references text exchanges between Nathan and Abel as purported evidence that Nathan planted that negative story in the Daily Mail. But actually, remember, as we talked about before, they left so much out. You guys remember this? Where in the original complaint, they put this in. And they put this in where it said, Jen Abel said, wow, you really outdid yourself with this piece. But they didn't put that emoji, that upside down emoji. And then they said, that's why you hired me, right? I'm the best. They didn't leave anything else out. They didn't leave anything. They didn't put anything else in, which basically said that she said, damn, this is not fair because it's also not me. Meaning that she had 100% not had anything to do with that article. And had they actually put the entire text message in, everything now looks like it's me. And she says, no, it totally does look like his side. They would have seen that she had nothing to do with that horrible article, which is nutty. And then we've seen this all in his article, in his lawsuit towards the New York Times. So I don't need to go into this in detail, but this goes all into the fact that the New York Times basically completely took her side without doing due diligence. And sadly, I really have lost faith in the New York Times as a journalistic article or journalistic, what do you call it? Like a newspaper. It's actually really sad because in the last couple of years, I've noticed that a lot of mass media and legacy media, whether it's TV or they're all biased. They're so biased. At least I'm biased, but I call myself biased. I definitely do not say that I am, non-biased. And the New York Times has spread so many false lies about so many things that I've seen like firsthand in the last year and a half that I truly do not believe anything that the New York Times tells me. If Lance, my husband, sends me an article and it's the New York Times, I always second guess it and I have to like double check on 3 other ways. Anything I get sent ever, I have to like double check. Ever. So I should have questioned myself when I saw this article, but I read the lawsuit or I read her complaint and I trusted the complaint. I'm such an idiot, right? But now that I know that she lied about 2 text messages, if you're going to lie about 2 text messages, if you're going to cut out things about 2 text messages, you're going to cut out everything. That's the thing. She shouldn't have changed 1 text message. You change 1 text message, you redact emojis, and you cut out lines. You're doing that with 1 thing. You're doing it with all of it. You literally change the narrative. With 1 thing, you're telling a story now. You're not telling the truth. You're telling a narrative. I don't trust you anymore, Blake. And then it says any negative press about Lively was unequivocally a consequence of her own actions. As you know, about all of those old articles that came out, all of those old interviews about the bump, about this. You guys remember, these interviews, this Unearthed Blake Lively interview shows her use slur for trans people. This is a text from Melissa Nathan. It says, this just ran. Obviously, none of us knew about this either, but once media goes in, they go in. The best thing we can do right now is be quiet. Let's just get through this week together, then just move on and back to regular planning with Instagram posts and thoughtful ideas and messages. The content creators are on fire, and Justin, she has handed it to them on a plate. Just concentrate on the success of this movie. Your family and your next project. I have this weird feeling she's going to reach out to you for a conversation in the next couple of weeks, or he will. So basically, like, she was just getting dragged because content creators on TikTok and on Instagram, like, and Reddit and whatever, they go in. Like, they start Googling, they start going through all the YouTubes, like, they start finding everything. No one needs to do that anymore. There's no reporters necessary. And so they weren't doing anything for it. The PR teams weren't doing shit. They were just sitting back, and Justin was freaking out saying, oh my gosh, I hope this isn't looking like it's us. They were texting with TMZ here, and TMZ says, this is that reporter about the little bump. And TMZ says, we interviewed her too. Let me find that interview. Fucked her. And Melissa Nathan says, oh my God, why the hell am I in this too? And TMZ says, you're a starlet. Fuck this week. How was the stunt? They're going back and forth. Again, the grab your friends, wear your florals. Anyway, this is just going back and forth about everyone taking her down online. People were saying this is a crazy way to market this movie. This was that whole week, remember, or 2 weeks where everyone was talking about it. Justin Baldoni was saying, this is not us, correct? Assuming the guy we brought in would never do this. And this was a Perez Hilton video. This part made me laugh so hard, you guys. Melissa Nathan said, also, none of us would ever do this. Also, no one even pays attention to this person past 2005. He's not relevant. He doesn't create a news headline. He does not get pickup. He's now just a troll. She's talking about Perez Hilton. I mean, if I was Perez Hilton, I would probably take it like a compliment that he's in the lawsuit. This is another one. Blake Lively, fearing for her career, admitted, ends with us backlash. And they're texting back and forth saying, God, I'm so over this. I'm sure Leslie thinks we placed this one as well. Melissa says, yup, and same. Everyone is like, I hope that, that Leslie Sloane and Blake Lively's team don't think that we're doing this. We are not doing this. You know who's doing this are people like us. TikTok people are doing this. TMZ is saying, we're told cast and crew are finding Justin a nice guy. Don't take as harsh of sides being behind scenes as it's being reported. At this point, we're told it's being milked for publicity. Justin's over it. It was really creative differences between Blake and Justin, but wasn't nearly as bad as being reported. Blake has a huge ego, is the reporting. And Melissa Nathan's talking about being a hurricane. I don't even know. Melissa says, do you have sources? Blake Lively's camp keeps thinking it's us placing and we're doing it all. TMZ says, yes, on production. They've had a producer working overtime and spoke to people on crew or in post were legit saying source says it's all Blake's ego. And Nathan says, you have no idea. You think you do. You have no idea. In my whole career, I've never come across this situation. TMZ says, but why aren't people saying the real story? Melissa, Nathan. Oh, okay. They're talking about bots. Again, Justin saying, like, can we be confident that they know that we're not doing this? Okay. This is an article with Leslie Sloane talking to a reporter. Leslie Sloane, someone is saying she hasn't done anything literally anti-Blake, and Leslie does not believe it. Leslie is like, I don't believe that Melissa Nathan hasn't done anything anti-Blake. Melissa, this person says, she told me the same thing she told you, which is that Blake's backlash is organic. And Leslie says it's not. She did nothing, meaning Blake Lively has done nothing but help get a movie make tons of money. Justin makes tons. And this person says, she was kind of off promoting it like it was Barbie. It's just based on the things she said directly. Then Justin says things, we've already talked about this. Hold on. Okay. So it says plainly defendants. Oh my gosh, you guys, we have 10 more pages. We got this. Defendants had thousands of text messages and communications. They had all the pieces to put together what really happened, and they would not even had to search particularly hard to do so. They chose not to because that did not serve the goal of trashing plaintiffs in the ultimate power play by wealthy celebrities who have not heard the word no for decades. At bottom, the case is a simple one. Ready? Lively used her power to steal a movie from its director and production studio, and then she held them hostage to her incessant demands by extortionate threats to destroy what they had left. All the while, she failed to understand the heart and soul of the movie she stole and the book it was based on, let alone the intensely personal impact the book had on millions worldwide. When her thoughtless promotions fell flat because they focused on flowery glamour and cross merchandising opportunities for her own brands rather than centering the voices of survivors, she finally got a taste of accountability, and she did not care for it. She made one final demand to plaintiffs that they finally and forever fall on the sword for her by apologizing for things they had not done, killing their future prospects in the process. When they refused, defendants' gloves came off, and they used their power and resources to try to take down plaintiffs for good by coordinating with Jones and Sloane, master practitioners of the dark arts of public relations, in an intricately planned character assassination plot. They nearly pulled it off, too. Defendants have cost plaintiffs their film, their reputations, their future prospects, even their talent agency. It's time to rebalance their scales. Oh my God, I think we're done. I think we did it. I think it ends with us. I want there to be end credits. We did it. Guys, we did it. We just need some music. This episode of Daily Dose of Donna is brought to you by Mint Mobile, formerly owned by Ryan Reynolds and now owned by Wayfarer Productions, because he can't afford it anymore because he's going down. Oh my God, you guys. You know what? We need more happy music for this. 950 people live. If you want more scoop, if you want more fun, join Daily Dose of Donna every single day, Monday through Friday. 11 a.m. I go live. Yeah, that was the Sister Wives thing. We got it. I'm Team Justin. I don't know about you guys. I can't even hide this feeling anymore. I really can't. I feel so bad for Justin Baldoni here. I really do. For Justin, for Jamie Heath, for Wayfarer Productions. I don't see the sexual harassment. Did Justin Baldoni cross the line? Possibly. Yes, actually, probably. Is Justin Baldoni a cheeseball talking about toxic masculinity and about how it's okay to show your emotions? Yes. Yes. Is he a perfect human being? Did he do a 30-minute engagement video where he made it all about himself and saying bye, bye, bye with like a boy band? Yes. Can he be both things? Yes. But I do think he cared about the movie. I do think he cared about domestic violence. And I do think in his heart and soul and his passion was taken away from him by two power hungry people. Will I be able to look at Ryan Reynolds the same ever again? Absolutely not. Will I be able to look at Blake Lively the same? Absolutely not. And you tell me, after this horrid, disgusting, awful treatment that they had in this, movie that they did, this awful treatment that Justin Baldoni just treated them so badly and just were so horrible to them. Why do you think that in promoting this movie, why would you say that that Ryan Reynolds would think it would make any sense whatsoever to do this? Just a reminder to do this to promote this serious movie, It Ends With Us, that was such an awful experience. Remember this?
Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Okay.
Oh, God.
It's cool. It's not every day the husband gets to interview his wife's love interest in a film. It's kind of crazy.
I don't remember seeing this on the
Let's
schedule.
dive in, shall we? So I saw you posing in a photo with Mrs. Reynolds, and I'm sorry, what do you call her? Do you guys have a nickname or
No.
something? Okay, no, just so it's Mrs. Okay. Anyway, I saw this photo. It was very suggestive. So I got it right here. I'm gonna get right to it. How do you explain that? Is that genetics? You have some sort of like low angle squat routine to pop that region in that way? I mean, what's going on here, man? Are you smuggling pumpkins? Got a couple of small pumpkins there? Jesus Christ, my heart is beating like crazy right now. This reminds me of when I went on that meth journey, confront my inner child.
And I was on a meth journey. I think you mean like ayahuasca, like South American plant known for its medicinal benefits. Definitely not meth. You should not be doing a meth journey.
I've been on a meth journey for about 6 months now.
I mean, I'm not a doctor, but you're probably going to die.
Feel well.
You don't look well.
Let's talk motorcycle.
I don't know. That felt like sexual harassment to me. Everyone, thank you guys so much for joining on this Saturday episode of Daily Dose of Donna. I love you. I appreciate you. This episode will be live on all audio platforms. Make sure to subscribe. Share it with all your friends who are on the fence. Share it with all your people who are shouting out from the rooftops that this is all about supporting women. I support women who actually are being sexually harassed. And I think Blake Lively, in my opinion, is setting women back. I think if you really do support women, she's taking you back. Love you. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Talk to you soon. Bye.